Welcome everyone to the 70th Knowledge Seekers Workshop of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. And it's July 16th, 2015. And we'll begin the workshop with our promotional video from the Spaceship Institute.
Where does humanity go from here? What have we tried to do? What if there is more, much more? The Keshe Foundation is proud to announce a new way to bring humanity forward through technology that brings humanity in line with the natural operation of the planet and universe itself. The new science and technology discovered and developed by the nuclear engineer Moran Keshe centers upon the use and control of magnetical gravitational fields. This new body of knowledge opens the road to hundreds of potential applications, which offer solutions to most of the fundamental problems of the world, such as water, food, environmental contamination, and shortages of energy. The Keshe Foundation is proud to unveil the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Nestled amidst the beautiful shores of Bari, Italy, the Institute is poised to become a central hub in the spreading of plasma technology and knowledge. With its state-of-the-art 21st century facilities, the Institute will be able to provide students and staff an immersive way to learn the plasma technology, to be the leaders of the new generation of scientists and plasma engineers. The Keshe Foundation has opened the door to the world for peaceful usage of technology that is independent of the limited resources that are available on Earth. This is an understanding of how everything works together in harmony in our universe, and it applies to everything from the smallest to the biggest, from atoms to galaxies. We all are able to collectively work together in pursuit of knowledge, innovation, and solutions for our society. This learning environment is new to the world, where there will be no test to confirm your understanding. The knowledge of everyone will be respected and allowed to flourish in a nurturing environment. Hands-on testing and experimenting will be widely used in conjunction with roundtable discussions to bring all opinions and knowledge forward. Students will be introduced to a change in the ethos of working in collaboration. Students will experience firsthand how we share knowledge in a free and open manner. Graduating students are expected to share the knowledge they gain from the university within their respective communities and nations. All formal teachings, lectures, and presentations will be in the English language, with technology available for immediate translation. Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will be offering 3-year executive master programs for undergraduate degree students and 1-year executive master programs for graduate degree students in the following fields: space transportation, new plasma technology, health, agriculture, materials, energy. The health section is designed to make students able to live in space without the need to return to Earth. To this end, the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute has found processes for many diseases including ALS, cancer, coma, epilepsy, multiple sclerosis. Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will offer online teaching courses which will enable anyone, anywhere around the world to enroll and increase their knowledge and understanding. Students will have the opportunity to direct their work towards commercial spin-offs and seek funding through the help of the Keshe Foundation. The access to the new science and new technologies is openly available for peaceful use to the benefit of mankind to make a better world today. Now you can be part of the changing world and the new knowledge. All commercial spin-offs are intended to be open source and patent-free. This is part of the core ethos of the Keshe Foundation and the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will have its official inauguration on April 21st, 2015, with courses commencing soon after on May 4th, 2015. The students of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will be the leaders of the future who will make changes in all areas of space technology, science, medicine, agriculture, and energy. Anyone is able to apply, but acceptance is through invitation only. No prerequisites are required. We will be accepting approximately 250 students for the 3-year Executive Master's Program and 120 students for the 1-year Executive Master's Program. We welcome humanities participation in the knowledge of the Kesh Foundation Spaceship Institute. Where does humanity go from here? That is up to you. Apply today.
Okay, that was the promotional video for the Kesh Foundation Spaceship Institute. And now we'll visit with Mr. Kesh directly and see what he has for news for today's online workshop. Hello, Mr. Kesh. How are you doing there?
Good morning, good day to you as usual. Whatever time you look and learn or listen to these teachings, and part of Thursday teaching of the Institute is the sharing of the knowledge with the world public. As Rick said, we are on the 70th program of the Knowledge Seekers, where we share knowledge openly worldwide, and we have no hesitation to share what we learn and the way we share our knowledge and technology. Today is important for me in another way for the Kesh Foundation and the Kesh Foundation as a whole. As you know and you read, on the 6th of November 2012, when the American Embassy requested for a meeting with us in respect to the transfer of the USB stick to the American nation to develop the technology for them, as the other nations around the world received it. In a meeting of handing over the USB stick, in a way, giving the science and technology, knowledge of the man to the American government, I put a hand of peace to the nation. And the officials on the table accepted the key, but they refused to make a handshake. They said, the noise from Tehran is different than what you are speaking. I said, this is a noise. This is a hand of peace from the Iranian government, Iranian nation, and we expect a shaking of hand. He said, I cannot shake, but I convey the message to my government. 2 weeks later, as you know, Hillary Clinton was in south of Iran in the first step negotiation with His Excellency President Ahmadinejad, even though at that time, President Ahmadinejad made a lot of wrong approach in the world of diplomacy. He was well informed that to talk peace correct way has to be done the right way, both in the front and the back. But the negotiation in the background took place very extensively, and a decision was made in so many ways to place a moderate man with understanding of the Western mentality to bring the peace home in what we started. In past 2.5 years, in the background, we gave you our position and what we think. And the final conclusion, as we know, was reached this week by signing of the peace treaty between Iran and 5+1, which America was part of it. The interesting thing about this peace treaty is that it's the first time ever that no bullet has been fired, but peace has been reached through science. The war and aggression wasn't for land. The war and aggression has not been for attaining central bank reserves, but has been to attain knowledge. 5+1, most powerful nations on this planet, fought and negotiated step by step to achieve.
Mr. Kesh, the audio is not adequate right now. I would suggest that you replace that microphone with the desk microphone so that we can hear you clearly. This is an important message, and this is ridiculous.
Is it better now?
Terrible. I think you should replace that microphone with the other desk microphone, unless you're going up to the blackboard right away, because the audio from that microphone has been terrible the last few workshops. And it's
Okay.
very hard to hear the words. They're just garbled, and it sounds like it's coming out of a garbage can.
Hello. Can you switch this off? Can you switch this off and use this? Totally. Is that better?
Yes, much better. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So as we said, this is the first time that war negotiations between nations, another nation, has been to fight for knowledge. And strange enough, a USB stick carrying a knowledge was the key to the peace between Iran and 5+1 and the United States. It's the first time man has created condition of war for knowledge, which is totally different, has been totally different. They use the fear of knowledge to be used to attain knowledge by what we call negotiation to share knowledge. This is wonderful. This has been very extensive. This shows the extent of the Iranian scientists in knowledge of plasma. If you are not aware, 90% of the negotiation between the Iranian government and 5+1 has been not so much the Iranian nuclear technology, has been the Iranian nuclear plasma technology. Once Iran agreed to share the Iranian nuclear plasma technology, the road for peace was established. The decoy for the whole thing was that Iran has a knowledge to create nuclear bomb. Israel drummed the war for the 5+1, and the rest started the negotiation in a very different way. So what has happened is very, very changing. It changes the whole structure of the future of mankind. We do not fight for water reserves, we do not fight for gold reserves, we do not fight for territory, but we have started for the first time create false wars for knowledge. And now we have seen a false war has paid its dividend, and Iran has managed to gain what it wanted, become one of the major nuclear technology industries in the world, and at the same time be the leader. If you read the latest message, if you can go on the internet and look at what President Obama, His Excellency President Obama has said, is Iranian nuclear plasma technology has been the main negotiating term. But if you go back on the nuclear plasma technology and the space technology which we started, is part of the negotiation, has been part of the negotiation. You have seen the space reactors we developed, you've seen the test of it, and now you've seen how governments negotiated to get access in a way to what has been developed in the past 7 years by the Iranian government and 10 years by the Iranian government in the plasma technology. I congratulate the Iranian government for approach and successful conclusion. I congratulate the American government in being able to get access to the technology through, in so many ways, incorrect way, but at the end the result counts. This changes the scenery in the front and in the back end of the negotiation. But as you know, in past 2 weeks, I raised alarm and concern about the signing of this treaty. And maybe if you do not understand, I explain why. I started a hand of peace. We've seen it. We put the roadmap for peace. We have received a positive response from the Russian government, and after opening of the Duma after September holidays, summer holidays, we go back into discussion. And the same process will be, we negotiate knowledge for peace. Step by step, we deliver technologies, and we, in access a request for peace, is shown to be successful with Iran and 5+1, so why not to extend it? So what does this mean? This means that our roadmap takes a stronger position. We've shown knowledge is more powerful than a gun, and we've shown not a single bullet has been fired, but both sides achieved to share knowledge. But my concern in past 2 weeks with regard to my government, and as I advised His Excellency President Rouhani and His Eminence Ayatollah Khamenei not to sign the contracts yet, and if it would have been delayed by 2 weeks, Iran would have been totally in a different position in respect to the negotiation. But in a way, it's good for everyone, because now we stand on the verge of no nuclear war, but in a way, the nuclear weapon technology with what we have released in past 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and what is to be released in the coming days is obsolete. Concern and have it. Happy and others are happy to take it. So be it. Because the nuclear power station, the nuclear reprocessing in Iran has become obsolete. The rest with Americans is absolute and totally obsolete, because we have shown we can create more power, we can create continuous power without any nuclear elements. It was said in the past, if you achieve 100 plus 1, you have got free energy. As you have seen, excuse me, cameraman, as you have seen, we have set this system up with the help of Alex from England, Nigerian, and I saw a lot of comments on these on the internet. You see the system reads 9.7 kilowatt hour, and that's what we have taken from the grid, and we have put 52.9 back into the grid. We are not talking about 100 plus 1, we are talking 500 plus 1. We are putting 5 times more energy into the grid than we are taking. This is what in reality looks. We are taking, let's say, 10 kilowatt hour in past 2 weeks, because we started last Thursday, and we have put in 50 kilowatt hour into the grid. That's what is come in, and that's what gone out. So our ratio is 500 times more what we take in, 5% or 5 times more in what we put out. But we are not using any nuclear material. We are not using any substances which cannot be handled by individuals, so does not need government. Secondly, in this way, because it's non-nuclear, belongs to people. Everybody can use it. Everybody can apply it. So this is what I said to my government: do not sign the treaty till we release the rest. And I see exactly what the rest is. Free energy for everyone. You do not need to negotiate, because the negotiation brings a problem for Iran. The problem for Iran is immense with this signature. Let me explain to you why. The problem is going to be bigger for Americans. Part of the deal has been jobs in US for Boeing, for Lockheed Martin, for IBM, and Microsoft, and the rest. Total created job through this negotiation for America is something between 5 to 10 million jobs in the coming years, due that Iranian systems have not been renewed for past 30 years through boycotts. But the problem is, Iran has to pay through its oil reserves and national reserves for all these jetliners and the rest. But with a new technology, which now released and is to be released in the future, we do not need, in the next 12 months, all the jumbo jets, IBM, Microsoft, Lockheed Martin, as you've seen with production of energy, free at zero cost. You can do it at home. Why should Iranian government put such a burden on the nation? This is my objection, because these systems all are war machines. In the back, Lockheed Martin is all the Phantoms, all the F-5s. Boeing, the same, military. IBM, all the military standards to be increased. Nothing will be as such to the benefit of the nation. We don't need fighters. We don't need Boeing levels of black accounts of the Boeing in military, because it's not just setting up the 747 and the others to Iran, it's setting the technology in the back door, military, and then creating another war. Now Iran is becoming strong. In 30 years' time, the cycle will go on. So with what we have released, and in the next 7 days, we release another revolutionary technology totally. It's been tested, it's going to be extended, and I have called for a special presentation on the last Thursday of this month. Do not miss the 30th of July presentation by the Cash Foundation. We are making it public. Winston start working in the background. We will rock, we will change the history of man in that presentation. We will allow anyone to come in. It will not be held in the university. It will be held in the new research center auditorium. We are moving people around to be in that day here, because we'll change and show that the strength of the Cash Foundation does not sit only in power production. You got to understand that taking 10 kilowatts and putting 50 kilowatt means the Italian government owes the Cash Foundation 16 euro. We become a supplier. We are not just an institute. We're using 2 fans and some systems. In the coming days, we'll add to the system to show the power, how much we can increase. We'll go up to 30,000 kilowatt hour in the coming week. Not enough. We gave 2 weeks to show stability. I will raise the power production to 30,000 kilowatts. You wonder how? You will see how. We'll show it. And if we can put 30,000 kilowatt hour into the international grid of the Italian government, then it will be a huge change. And in the coming days, we put around 30,000 kilowatt hour per day into the national grid. The structure is set, we're going to test it, and at the same time, a new type of plasma technology, then the GaNs will be brought in the mixture. Total free plasma. Armand looks at me. You are not supposed to talk. But now you know. It's a reality. Armand and Marco are working in the background on it. It's the first time I got involved back on the table for production of the new technology development since yesterday. And it will take us a few days. We can show the performance. It is a very powerful technology. It's the next step before creating a free plasma without containment, which means you will have no, good morning, you have no more reactors for power supply. You don't need to do what you've been doing up to now in creating plasma and GaNs materials and the rest. Am I correct? Nearly. Armand is at it. We don't know yet. So what we want is this. Secondly, you got to realize, as of yesterday, am I correct? Giovanni can tell you, we've gone into the prototype completion of the power system. Yes. Yes. They start the manufacture today for the first prototype. Will be ready by Saturday, hopefully, maybe this afternoon. So we will have our first prototype cola bottle size by this Saturday when we go for testing it. But I have a very bad news for you. If our new technology is correct, you have to look for the size. You know the size of a salt container? That becomes your new power supply. Unlimited power source. Don't forget, because it is plasma reactor, and what we see coming out, we have managed through our research side, as we know, we are gathering more and more people, scientists around to develop. We have managed to transfer 40 volts of energy across wireless in past 24 hours. So we have managed to create a wireless power supply. We will show it. At the moment, I'm very busy with flying people in and out to be able in October. Research labs are right in the building. It's not like here. We can go to the lab and show the latest technology. So what happens is that we can show the wireless communication or wireless transfer of energy, and this will change a lot of things. Today, I hope if we can get Sohail online, he's promised us he will show us the first Keshe Foundation battery energy supply. It does 2000 milliamp hour, and it does 1000 milliamp hour plus 5 volts, which you can charge anything with. And it will last for years. It's the first time you don't need to charge to carry a storage. The storage is with you. So now you see why I said Iran has sold to the Americans a dead donkey. Nuclear technology is finished. Because what is interesting is I warned the Iranian government strongly. Let me explain to you something. When I was a student in Queen Mary College in the first year, I was sure that I'll have a position in the present nuclear power in Iran. As a nuclear engineer, I would have been one of the leading scientists, engineers, going back home to run Bushehr and nuclear power stations. So I know about this for a long time. I know about this beyond a long time. And in so many ways, let me explain to you what the problem is. I have explained this in the teachings here, but now we explain to you what the problem is with the new technology, new plasma technology, and the present nuclear industry. When you produce energy in this level, you produce a DC energy and not an AC. So we are feeding DC into the national grid of Italy, which converts at the level of DC all the current electric wires into nano layering themselves. And in time, this has been explained to the knowledge seekers. So as usual, we bring the knowledge of the classroom to public. At this time, when the current of the plasma from the center goes out, it creates a nano layering, and now the copper wire inside behaves as a superconductor, does not behave as a copper. And what happens? The nano coating creates a superconductivity, and in fact, we are not feeding 50 kilowatts electron vibration. We are feeding by order of magnitude plasma energy down the grid. And at the point of the change where the electrons vibration energy level are released, people are using it as energy supply somewhere down the line. So we are not feeding no AC, we are not feeding no DC, we are feeding plasma energy at a constant rate from Stanley this morning or last night, that it says to me, read what has been written about what you presented by his wiki. And strange enough, it's written by Alan Sterling, and he says, I tried to contact Keshe Foundation that he could explain to me, that I could explain to you in so many ways, and they did not answer my email, so everything about this technology is fake. Well, let me tell you why. We will never answer any communication with Pizwiki or Alan Sterling. He has a criminal record as a pedophile, according to himself, and we do not encourage youngsters to go to the websites which catches youngsters to be abused by Alan Sterling. I have it in writing from him. So when he confesses to be a pedophile, we do not support it. That's why we do not answer. If any scientific organization comes to us, wants an explanation to publish a paper, you're quite welcome. Not Pizwiki, because we work very ethically, and Alan Sterling uses our technology as a trap to catch young people to abuse. As he says, he loses his senses when he sees young boys. So now, if there are any other people who want to come, we explain to you, you can test it. So please understand, the structure of energy supply has changed. And what does this mean? Why this is dangerous for the governments, especially Iranian governments, French government, American government, the German government, is that when we put energy now and we are delivering the energy supplies, this is your system here, and this is the nuclear power station here. You send a plasma field at a point of getting absorbed by nuclear pellets, nuclear rods, high energy, a plasma energy. You can imagine what happens there. The nuclear power stations have to be disconnected from the grid instantly in the coming weeks and months as more people are using. In a way, we have made nuclear industry obsolete. When you cannot use it, what it says, it means there is no need for it. So this is why I said to my government, and I requested His Excellency Ayatollah Rouhani not to negotiate till we show you can have the whole of the nuclear power station of Iran free, take it wherever you like. Because now there is a problem before even becomes a full commission, fully operating over a year, the Iranian nuclear reactor is obsolete. Because the power supply can be done at home. You don't need to buy units from the Keshe Foundation. At home, any Iranian can put energy, use energy, put energy into the grid. And if this energy goes down the line in the transmission lines into the nuclear, the structure of Iranian nuclear power station, we have a huge problem. Fukushima will be child's play. Don't forget, you have few hundred nuclear reactors in the United States. A number of these units has been sold to the United States. We will get them to the people who bought it. Keshe Foundation have different means of getting this technology to the reach of the people. So I warn the American government, I warn especially the French government, and I warn especially the German government. Please, you're warned, start looking for disconnection of the nuclear power stations from the main green feeding line. The rest of the world nations who have no nuclear power stations will benefit by it. Your nation can benefit by it, but there is a situation in this regard that plasma in let's say, coal power stations, it still goes through the turbine, but it goes in oil, it goes into the structure. It's nothing there. But with the nuclear power stations, the nuclear material has the capability to absorb the energy of the plasma because it works through the plasma. Nuclear technology is a plasma technology in a matter state. So my call goes very directly to the American government. If you're listening, send the tape of this recording to all the officials in your government that with a new technology, free energy, 5 times, 10 times over is now reality. But with it, the nuclear nations are burdened with a huge debt because once you block, once you take the power station out of the grid, now you have a huge problem with decommissioning. Cost billions. Burden on the nation, systems which are running and not producing. And you can never put them back on the grid. It's impossibility. Because if so many people in the United States use this system, so many people in Europe use this system, even we only need more or less for the whole of Europe, less than 1,000 units across Europe to operate. In a very short time, they link up. Very, very short time. We need less than 500 units to operate in US to start seeing the problem. This is a warning. And if you don't understand it, understand something very simple. The more people tap into the energy supply supplied with this system, the further the extent the drawing of the energy from the source. So let's look at, let's say, a country like Italy, like a boot. We put, let's say, 20 systems across Italy. The furthest point, as it calls for the energy, it calls on the system. So the whole system gets nano-coated and relies on the plasma supply. Less than 50 units in Italy will force the Italian government to more or less start shutting down coal-fired power stations, gas-fired power stations, because they will run, but they will not put anything into the grid. We've seen this with the operation of the cars, where people ask, how can you run a car with a starter motor running? Because the starter motor, you look at it as a matter state, but now the starter motor, because of its engagement with the engine, works on a plasma state. You convert the plasma energy into mechanical energy directly. That's why your motor runs. Because the plasma has a habit of manifesting itself as a matter. If it comes from the sun, it's a plasma, goes down the line in the space of the solar system, and then changes to matter when the strength comes. And in positions, it changes itself to force field to create motion. So you got to understand, with this technology, with delivery of energy this way, where we sell you a car unit, we don't sell a power unit. We sell a system plasma, which is strong enough that it delivers the system to the starter motor that in contact conversion rotates the engine as you are running the engine. It changes plasma into a mechanical force, in a dynamic force, which is the property of the plasma. None of you up to today have understood this. To you was, how can a cola-sized bottle energy run a car? Because now you deal in a plasma condition. You convert the energy of the plasma at a point of need, at a point of demand, to whatever you like. You can even convert the plasma, if you know how to do it, which we will show you in the coming time, to a banana, to food, to water, anything you like to do. This is not a fairy tale. This is what you've been waiting for. and I explain it to you again that you fully understand. In a very simple way, we do it again and again till all of you understand it. This is the shell of the solar system. This is the sun. Radiates gravitational magnetic field plasma. And as this field here reduces in strength, becomes hydrogen. Here, as it reduces, it becomes, let's say, iron. As it reduces somewhere else, becomes field force to be able to push, create condition of field force on a planet like Earth. So now your system has become the sun. Now you are pointing it which way you want to go by putting the plug into the cigarette lighter. So you have the capability with your cigarette lighter unit to produce food, water, energy as you like, same as solar system. Because you don't burn a fuel, you open a plasma. As you open a plasma, it means you open a sun. The same properties. It's the same structure. And as you've seen, the change of the game is it costs nothing to produce it. Zero cost. A Chinese girl does it at the age of 5 in the toilet in Beijing or somewhere, which they put a video on. So I don't think it'll be very hard for the President of the United States to understand what it's about. A 5-year-old Chinese girl has understood. A man from Africa explained it to us. We've seen new developments in Philippines. We've seen new developments in South America. And in the coming days, we will show a full flight system. Not only the energy, we are ready to show the flight system in public. We choose the time and the place, not like last time when the Belgian authorities came and confiscated everything and locked it up in my lab. If I was a criminal, you arrest me, you take my material. Well, you ban me and keep my material with me. It means I'm correct, you're fraud. So now we told the whole public, everybody can do it. The clock on showing a full flight is ticking. It's ticking very, very rapidly. The way we showed the power supply, as you see there, in this room, in this university, and not here anymore, as a gift to the foundation and new research center, we will show a full flight in coming time. Nobody can stop us. We have all the facilities. And if they do, beforehand, 4 units will spread across the world that 4 places simultaneously will show the same thing. That this time, there is no place for one. And I have chosen where it's going to be, which continent. We'll try to show it in one continent. Each continent will show one flight system simultaneously when we decide. We're getting ready for what I said, 21st of September, the first satellite gift from American or any other nation to Keshe Foundation. Road map for peace is ultimate. We'll achieve it. And the beauty of it is too many people around the world have started looking at the technology very seriously since last Thursday. So what I said, I still thank all the nations in what they showed the first war for knowledge completed peacefully. Now we start the process of peace through knowledge. And I have no problem in showing things because now we've shown knowledge has more value than war. So it has more precious comfort to bring all of us than creating misery. In the coming days, we'll show new developments beyond imagination. But it's so simple that if Armin can do it with no PhD in plasma physics, you have a PhD in plasma physics. Now I give you one, but you don't want. He's got masters. than anybody can do. As I said, I bring the knowledge understood so easily that a common man with no scientific background can use it to the benefit of himself and his nation. We've seen how Armand changed the course. Now we've seen Alex, and then the others which are waiting to come online to show what they can achieve. At the moment, as we talked in our teachings, we most probably in the next week or two will show it here. We used to have a telephone box at every corner to be able to talk using landline. Now we communicate through mobile phones. In the coming weeks, we'll show you these telephone boxes needed a light which was supplied through the grid. As they have become obsolete because of the mobile phone, so has the cable business. You can have as much energy as you need, wherever you need, like a mobile phone. Now, go back into what I told you 2 years ago, 3 years ago. If you have 2 mobile phones, you can have whatever you like. You dismantle one to make your nanomaterials, and you use the other to receive the energy which you left at home anywhere in the world. You connect your mobile phone to your cigarette lighter nowadays to charge it up. Now you connect your cigarette lighter through your mobile phone to drive your car because you receive energy from the source. Tesla did this, but he only worked on gravitational. Now you work on magnetical. You work on the plasma condition. In the coming weeks, I will bring a cigarette lighter here, and we can run a car as much as you like. Because this is now, the system is running. It's not that it's going to be developed. Wireless transfer of energy has already been started. Is there a need for power station? No. Tesla car, which has come with its rechargeable batteries, you've got to go to the fuel station to charge it and take it home to charge the battery at home, is already obsolete. We have the technology, and as Giovanni said, most probably by this afternoon, we'll have the prototype. We are ahead by 2 days. We were supposed to have it ready by Saturday. Yeah? So we might deliver a cola size for every need of man. Even you can leave the Coca-Cola size at home to supply your car while you're driving through your mobile phone. This is not fairy tale, this is a reality. Now is with us. And in the coming time, don't forget, you start buying the CO2 kits. The game is started in October, November. That people could see, could understand. Now you have seen the single core unit. Now you see assembler cores. And even these core units in the coming time are obsolete. Because in a way, we are going in the direction of creating a plasma like sun without the container. Don't forget, Tesla created a mast. Now the energy is in the plasma. So I go again. I recommend my government, the Iranian government, please do not hesitate. Don't be hesitant to stop. You sign the agreement, wait for 2 weeks, no more than 2 weeks. Then you understand none of the Iranian national assets should move to the United States to pay for the Boeing, which are obsolete. Because you can use the same system in your car to go to state at zero cost. Good morning. This teaching become very much all American, huh? Every time. Actually, we have one American guy this afternoon at 3 o'clock. He's flown all the way from Arizona for 10 minutes here to go back. The whole process is very, very interesting. And when we release the first COLA system, don't forget, by chance, COLA system has become the first one, not the energy system to be ready, because I don't think the energy system is needed. But people look for something big to give them something huge. So we might even scrap. We still put a Coca-Cola or a cola can size inside. We give you a very big box if that makes you happy. Would you like it? You still want a big one? You still want a small one? You want a salt shaker? Actually, the salt shaker unit is with him. He's got it. We are not going to buy it. We already have it. Correct? We got 3 of them. So all we need is to miniaturize. Why people keep on asking us, can you give us a specification? How many kilowatts? What can we do? What is the outcome? What will be going in? How much do I have to pay? You take as much as you need and no more, because we don't need to run a power station. The energy sits in the GANs, in a plasma. Whenever you need it, you tap on it. You tap into it. So you don't need a battery to reserve energy. All the school of thoughts of energy, motion, food reserve is gone through the window. I don't say so. A working unit sitting there. And our Westinghouse man has been taking a record of it every day. So we have a representative from Westinghouse who can tell the boss, this. They always keep. You never lose your title. Do you lose your, have you seen the presidents? They've been president 40 years ago. Whenever you say, I'm the president. Hello, Mr. President. He's still addressed as a Mr. President, don't they? So a Westinghouse man is the same. You never lose your title. You're there. Have you seen? I know so many ambassadors. They were ambassadors 20 years ago. And they call, hello, Mr. Ambassador. Yes, I was ambassador. Now I have a different job. So Westinghouse man stays the Westinghouse man. You were a businessman. Now you're a scientist. We call you the Mr. Businessman. So understand the reality that in the coming time, if you've been here with us in the teaching, we explained how you can convert energy into food. One of the problems you might think is not correct, and what's going to happen is very simple. Go back on the teachings of past few weeks, and you started with kicking off with the Chinese, where they showed they had a cup and they put a melon on top of it. Was it melon? It was a melon with the Chinese. Watermelon, yeah. And they put an amino acid from the top of the gas, CO2, CuO, and CH3. And when they drank the water, they could taste the melon. Then we had Alex here, which has been doing it long before the Chinese do, where now he puts a sausage and a bun, and he has a hot dog in the same process in the water. Now, as I explained in the teaching of Tuesday, my wife said to me this morning, what did you teach on Tuesday? I said, nothing. She says, you've done something. A lot of them are happy. A lot of people are happy about it. I said, yes, I know. I taught them how to stay young, because now they carry their energy with them. It says, that's what you've done. So what we thought on Tuesday, if you're not with us, if you don't like the health section, was that if you, instead of water, fill up the system with the GANs, put it in a container with the gases to support it, to extract whatever you put on the top, and put, very simply, the hand of the man or the heart of the man. And in the GANs, you absorb the emotion, the soul, the physicality information of the man. And then what happens? Get these GANs, make yourself another container, and this time, instead of putting different gases in here, fill it up. This is you. You can drink as many times as you like, never changes. But if you can find, as I said, and someone said, why do you keep on using this word? Because it has a lot of meaning. So if you can find an 18-year-old, get them to hold their hands on the top, and you drink it, this is your cup of youth. You'll never go old. Doesn't matter physicality, but emotionally you feel good. Do you want one? Do you? Oh, Sandy has changed direction now. She wants one. She had a problem on Tuesday. What is Bill going to do with it? Now she has found a solution for herself. Now she's happy to have one too. So now what happens is you carry the cup of life, the cup of youth, as much as you like, as many times as you like as to drink. It will change the structure of your body, but please make sure you do not use, unless you're happy with it. I have to warn you the way I warn Americans about the nuclear power stations. If you're a man, use a man. Don't drink from a cup which is done by a woman. You'll have complications. Unless, and you don't become homosexual if you do it, but there's a difference in the structure. Make sure you're not sold the wrong cup. At least make sure you monitor when your cup is made, and you can choose the man or a woman you like to drink the cup of youth from. Now you can see what happens. Up to now, everybody went to give blood. Giving blood was very good because you could make money out of it. A lot of people make money out of giving blood once or twice a month because that's their income. Now you find you don't know that. In East Asia, it's very common. People sell blood, they sell organs to live. Now we're finished with that game. But be careful. As I said, if you listened the last time, or you've been here when we taught you, change the hand of the man, make yourself a GANS cup, put cocaine in. If you're a drug addict, $20 will buy you a shot. Put it in a GANS cup, put a cup in the double edge, you have your cocaine filling, and you drink from the cup, you have the high of the cocaine. So we made the drug trafficking bankrupt because you need only one shot. And the thing is, if you have one shot, you can give to all your friends. This has a beauty. This takes a lot of pain out of society. It will be a bunch of drug addicts without any financial loss. So we can all walk high without actually knowing why. This is the truth. I tell you something very soon, some people will report this to you. If you use it the right way, in an opposite way, you can again withdraw drug addiction. You've been asking me, Mr. K, show me a way for the drug addiction. Now you know, make a cup. If you understand how to structure it, you can reverse any addiction. Drug, alcohol, anything. I would like to make one for Alan Sterling that the children's then say. So you have to understand the new technology brings new dimensions, new applications, new change of course of humanity. You are very puzzled. It's Cash Foundation. What you pay me goes as a donation. We can do more research. I tell you something. I had Caroline running to me last night telling me that people are buying the power units, but they don't want to make the donations. So we have crooks. So I found a solution. From now on, you don't pay $4.99, you pay the full $800. We decided to give you, can't do it. You don't pay $800, you have no unit. We leave it to you. You find a way to bend the law. I'm the lawmaker. I enforce the law in the different ways, a very sweet way. Anybody who's paid only for the power unit, we told you, you have to wait. We refund you. We cannot supply. Game is very simple. I will send email to anybody who just bought the unit without donation, means it's a crook. The money back. Sorry, the Cash Foundation cannot supply. This is a condition term of the donation was part of it. So you're quite welcome. The problem is, we showed you how to make it. Why do you want to, if you want to defraud your nation, you do it, you don't become part of it. But my warning goes to the world leaders, be it the Iranian president, American president, the whole of West and East nations, that as of now, you're going to lose a lot of money from your reserves of fuels. In Philippines, they have already started it. It's amazing how they've done it. So we will show it. We have asked them to come online to show their technology. In the next couple of weeks, we show the free transfer of information, the free transfer of energy. Don't forget, now we bring every scientist. I don't look for a PhD. I look for illiterate people who understand the literacy of plasma. We keep them on the payroll of the Cash Foundation, and they are protected fully. They don't need to be abused. We don't send any more scientists or people who become plasma scientists across to China and the rest. You know knowledge, we bring you here. You decide where the share of the development of the profit, according to yours, would like to go. We offer the same to Alex, and he has donated all his income from the what we call profits, benefits of the foundation to Nigeria. So he's benefiting his nation directly. We have set up the lab structure for him. He's been paid to set it up. We pay wages directly at a high level. We don't pay peanut wages. We pay wages that they can live a life of luxury. We leave to them to decide how they want to contribute to the world population. So you see the structure goes right. This is how we've been from the beginning. This is not a talk. Let me explain to you something which is very important. Some of you have seen on the internet Mr. Dirk Lorentzens calling me a thief, taking $45,000 from somebody and $24,000 for rent from somebody else. These people have never paid the foundation. They have never paid me. They paid for the foundation. There are three of them. Mr. Dirk Lorentzens, Tom, because we don't know his name because of he's on the board of directors of the Cash Foundation. When I die, Tom takes over for 30 days. And then there is Olivier. I can tell you why Mr. Dirk Lorentzens put this on and immediately hours later took it off because he did the maximum damage. I'm a thief. But as he said, he forgot something. You have to understand, Mr. Dirk Lorentzens, Mr. Tom, and Olivier have a 10 million guarantee signed, endorsed by court to them. Mr. Dirk Lorentzens hasn't worked free for the foundation. He's worked 5 years writing patent and books, and he's got a golden shake of 10 million on commercialization of the technology. And now we commercialized, his 10 million is calling in. So he's a thief and nobody else. And nobody has ever worked free. He never told people that he's received a 10 million handshake. That works out at every minute of 5 years he worked for the foundation, even the time he sleeps, something around about €2 per minute. I would work for that anytime. So understand how crooks turn up to call themselves angels. The 45,000 investment is much more than 45,000 because Olivia has put hours and weeks and months of doing everything around the foundation. So the three people, each one take 10 million home for writing patterns, supporting the technology, and everything else. And I don't think 45,000 is a bad return for 10 million. So Mr. Dirk Lorentzens forgot to tell you that. And he forgot to tell you that the guys who do that, and actually what is put as a rent is we wanted the house to be brought back into the foundation. Mr. Delanois, the police of Belgium, called the notary that if the property returns back to the foundation, because you received money from the foundation is fraud, you're going to lose your license as a notary, and you're going to go to prison because you received money from cash. So we came to a conclusion. We did it legally. We put it through as a court case. We planned it. It was delivered. We handed over. And then Armin and Marco can tell you, we emptied the house into the Sensano in a truck. That it could be that nobody get touched. So Mr. Dirk Lorentzens has received a 10 million for 2 years, for 5 years of writing some patterns and doing some demonstration. He forgot to tell you that. And secondly, I call him a thief. The same with, what do you call it, people who come and take the knowledge and patent, because he submitted a patent to the Belgian authorities as a personal to make it international. He unknowingly flew to China. That day, Arman was there. He gave a copy of his patent to Arman and to Sohail that he wants me nothing to know about it, to start separating the Cash Foundation, to destroy the Cash Foundation, because now we found a way to work with Sohail. He never knew Sohail. It was a deliberate ploy. Am I correct, Arman? Do you want to explain what happened, how he came to China, and what he had with him? Because it's important. It's the foundation, you're the back of it. Explain. Did he come to China with a patent?
He showed you the patent over here too.
Yes, I received a copy of it. So when we call somebody a thief from the foundation, it's the people who put the patent in. Because, and they do it because they're closest to the center to me, then they say, you see, that was a job. The patent was irrelevant. They wanted to say, you see, Cash is telling his people in the background to patent, and then it says, don't patent anything. The patent wasn't important. To damage the foundation was the prime concern. So you see, people pretending to be the friend are not really the friends, and we've seen it. Secondly, we received confirmation that Dr. Elia Kostova is in Singapore in collaboration with Mr. Hoy, patenting. And strange enough, if you go and read on Mr. Dirk Lorentzens, which is taken over the thought groups of the world thought groups, he answers that Marco in the session 65 says Cash Foundation has nothing to do with, what do you call it, the needles. Yes, we have nothing to do if anybody uses it and harm themselves. But we organized everything. Everything came here for scientific, and then the patents are written by Dirk Lorentzens most probably as well. That's why he pointed out. Otherwise, the man always tells you what he's going to do. So that's why I put it out this way. And that's why within hours after he put the allegation of 45, he realized I'm going to open his hand that he's taken 10 million for 5 years of work, but nobody knew. Now everybody knows. Then you understand why they got pissed off and they wrote this article. Because they would have been millionaires selling technology. The Chinese people won the government, the patent office. Now they had nothing. This was the anger of losing millions, which was part of the Keshe Foundation, which belongs to you, not to me. But you got to understand, when this was launched, the day when we launched the power supplies, to create a decoy, again, by their fluorescence, because Belgian government doesn't want to do anything. Don't forget, their fluorescence came through IMEC to us, through the ex-king of Belgium's bastard child, which IMAC is Hans Brecquenier. I wonder who Mr. Dirk Fluorescence had been serving, and Mr. Dirk Fluorescence was the only one, except my wife, we knew I'm on flight to Mexico. And when I came back after 11 days of arrest, a few months later, there was a beautiful apartment in the most expensive, exclusive part of Antwerp purchased, where for 5 years I could not see his house. So now you understand, jigsaws fit in. Let them open. Why do you submit patents? When you know you cannot, you're close to the director, to the top man, to try to discredit him. But the most beautiful thing is, now we've seen a third entry in him recommending that nobody uses these power units because of the health hazard. Correct? Now I answer you one thing. In his text, in the past week, he refers to Magna going to the Antwerp plant, and I made a mistake with the figures. The day I started negotiating Magna, Mr. Dirk Fluorescence was in hospital with a stroke. I had to pick him up because I had respect for him. At that time, I didn't know his clandestine activities. With his brother, we went to the plant in Antwerp. He was paralyzed like this, and he couldn't move. I took him out of the hospital after the stroke. He had nobody to take him home. I took him to a restaurant. He couldn't feed himself. I had to put a knife and a fork in his hand because of the stroke. I said, Dirk, if there's anybody else, you had a problem. You sit with a man who has the knowledge. I'll make you a system. Your hand will never be the same. You'll be as normal. I have made him 3 or 4 sets of the medical application, and now the hand I gave to correct is right this against me on the internet. If I need license to apply this technology, did Mr. Dirk Fluorescence ever ask me, do you have a license to make the cup that I can work and write again against you? Judas. Now you understand where it comes. Does the man work for foundation or the Belgian government? I think you know the answer. Not me. Why the Keshe Foundation for 6-7 years could not grow in Belgium? Every time we went somewhere, we got blocked. And in 2 years in Italy, you see what we are doing. I leave the judgment to you, not to me. I just cleared what is being written. Strange enough is that in his writing, he writes, Mr. Keshe might have had a poison food or something. Don't forget, Dr. Elia Kostova called Caroline and me that Mehran is poisoned with arsenic. You have to take these medicines. She came online on the 30th health teaching, explaining how she decided and how she decided I was poisoned with arsenic, because Dirk Fluorescence, reading a chart, in the chart could see I've been poisoned with arsenic. From now on, any of you have any poison, call Mr. Dirk Fluorescence to know how you can see somebody arsenic poison arsenic. Because if you remember in my teachings the past 2 weeks, I told you a cup of soup was handed over to me by John on the table and I drank it. So how did he know? Unless he was the instigator and part of it. Horoscopes cannot say how you are poisoned. Every time we had developments, it came to a halt. Why? Why not in Italy? So, Dirk, write more, I open your book. And the other thing is, he wrote a very nice thing about the house. I said to Armand and others, never invite Dirk Fluorescence to your house because he has a very bad habit. He doesn't go to toilet to piss in the toilet. He goes in your garden and piss in your garden when your 2-year-old child is playing in the garden. He enjoys pissing. If you don't mind, call Caroline. She'll tell you. We couldn't understand. Where is the audacity of a man to piss in somebody's garden where the child plays? So, Dirk Rightmore, I open your book. Your payday is over. Belgian government has no need for you. You should not have done. We tried to keep you integrity. When you came here after opening of Cash Foundation, I told you, go away and live your life. You decided to play game. Now I open your book. Don't forget, when we opened this foundation, here, the institute, there are two people present, they know. We told everyone that no Belgium is allowed. Mr. Dirk Lorentzens came in to create a conflict we were aware of. We invited him in, and I asked the police to let him come in, and I sat him next to me. There is a law. Keep your friends close, your enemies closer. That's why he sat to me on the auditorium, and you never realize why. Because he came in to create a conflict. As a Belgian, I can't come in to interrupt. And it didn't work. Because he was already called in, we set the whole thing backwards. Now, you tell me, Mr. Lorentzens, write more. There is no problem. People now, you know, you submit patent against the law of the Cash Foundation. You have a 10 million guarantee, which is notarized. I'll ask the lawyers to open it up, that they know we don't talk rubbish. They know how you have done what you've done. And the same thing is, Mr. Dirk Lorentzens, you made a huge mistake. On the day when we accepted you, you signed a 10-year, 20 years NDA with the foundation and me. You talk, I put you in somewhere, you never come out because you broke the law of ethics. So now you know, I answered all the questions. The man who wrote all this, how did he know what I'm poisoned with? And I have a lot of respect for Dr. Elia Kostova if she's made a move, unless you've been told how everything in the past 10 years has gone a different way. I question the integrity of living in Belgium as totality. And strange enough, we've been twice rolled over and shot at. The speed rollover in Belgium, only in Antwerp, where Dirk Lorentzens lives. Very strange. Now, I wonder how many people can write more. And if you want, I open my phone. Very simply, you can speak on the line, and Olivier will tell you they have 10 million guarantee that you know it's not at all. And if you want, we publish it. I'll put the loudspeaker on because you have to listen. Cash Foundation works very open. Then you know how Mr. Dirk Lorentzens planned to destroy the foundation and your work, not mine. Because if they could get me this time, they would have destroyed the foundation, that you could not have the freedom. It's important for you to know, because the minute I die, these people take charge over the foundation to run. You don't want to lose your assets. It's not mine, it's yours. Hello, Olivier. Hi, it's Cash.
Oh, Mr. Cash, a long time ago. How are you?
Not too bad. Olivier, I have a question to ask you. Do you still, you know, we start launching the power supplies and we're going into commercialization?
Come again, please?
We have started up supplying, we start manufacturing the power supplies from the foundation. Yeah, you know?
News.
Pardon?
That's fantastic news.
Okay. I called you to inform you are in public line to tell you that your 10 million guarantee from the Cash Foundation has started kicking in. You can ask for it in 6 months' time, we'll start paying you back.
That is very good. Super news.
Okay. Have you?
Glad to hear that things have started to move in a positive way for you.
Yes, at last. Thank you very much for your work. You know, you had a 10 million, Dirk has a 10 million, and Tom has a 10 million guarantee. It was written the same day with both, all three of you are signed. You've got a copy of yours?
I still have one in the safe, yes.
And you know, Dirk Lorenzen received a 10 million guarantee too. You've seen it?
I don't know. It has been a very long time that I spoke to Dirk. From what I recall, when we were in Tom's office, we signed all the same documents. So.
Yes. So now you can call your 10 million in. Dirk can do too. Thank you very much for all your help with the foundation.
You're welcome, Mr. Gerst. I'm very, very glad to hear that things have started to move.
Thank you very much.
For the formalities, let me know how we can, how we need to proceed, and in the future.
Okay, I'll tell Tom to set it in motion that you can receive the funds. Thank you very much indeed, and thank you for your financial support.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gerst.
Thank you indeed. Bye, Olivier. All the best. Bye. Now you see, we pay people well to support the foundation. So this is what Mr. Dirk Lorenzen forgot to tell you. And you don't do these things, either you're planning to destroy a system. Yeah? To create doubts, as Stanley told me, he's creating doubts in the Cash Foundation. He's paid to do so. How can you live in a dump and suddenly live in a luxury of a life? If you don't want to know, everybody knows where I live. Go on the internet, and the house of Mr. Lorenzen is on the London Tower in Antwerp, the most expensive block in the Antwerp property scene. So we close the case, let him open it up. We put our case in a very simple way. Don't forget, as I said, Mr. Dirk Lorenzen was brought in by IMAC, and IMAC is run by Hans Brackenier, the man who's planned to kill me for so many times. Very strange. Now, let us go carry on. The point comes to one thing. As you know, once we develop these new energy systems, we'll send the blueprint to every cash foundation across the world with one unit. So what it is, you will understand that the technology will be spread very rapidly. Very rapidly, everyone will have one. We'll get it to the Cash Foundation China as one of the priorities for the foundation. We'll get it to the Cash Foundation India as priority. If once we announce that we are ready and we have everything ready, we ask the Cash Foundations to fly your people here to carry it by hand, that immediately you can implement it in your country. Because in China, it immediately sorts all the pollution, air pollution, everything else. Because when the cars don't need to create pollution, they don't need to use fuel, this is what's going to happen. In so many ways, if we understand the process, we can change the course of a lot of mistakes in the past. We can change a lot of mistakes which has happened. Just 1 second. Hello? Hello? I'm teaching. I'm teaching. Pardon? What? Okay, just 1 second. This is, let me explain to you. Can I put you on live line? Okay, this is Brad. You all know him. He's an active member of the Cash Foundation, member of the core. Brad, you're online. Do you want to say?
Dirk sent me email to try to contact me about the same thing he did with Saltville, but I ignored it.
Hold on 1 second. Okay, can you repeat it because there is a noise?
Dirk sent me emails and information, the same thing he did with Sohail Armin, but I ignored him.
So you see he's working in the background trying to disassociate all the members of the Cash Foundation. It's a well-planned organization by the Belgian government. A single... Pardon?
I have the email to prove it.
You have the emails to prove it. That's perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you indeed, Brad. Thank you for your time. Have a nice time in Tehran. Bye-bye. Bye. So you understand now how they work. This is a call. He's in Turkey. He's listening live. And I'm sure other people received the same emails from their fluorescence, all well planned. This is why our servers was damaged. Our server was intercepted by the Belgium. Dirk knew how to break into it with the people they have. They went through it, but it was clean, military cleanup by our people before shipment. And that's why they did damage it before it gets here, because it was no use. They dumped it. So you understand? It's not just one. They approached everyone in the background to discredit and destroy. But the foundation is built by you, not by me. It goes on the strength of the people, not by talk of bunch of people who are paid to save the paymasters. And he writes in there very interesting. Mr. Cash accuses everybody of the pedophile. I just want to know what it means when my 2 or 2.5-year-old child plays in the garden and pisses in front of him. Let you decide, not me. So you got to understand the totality, how the change of the course has come.
I think that's what this is all about, isn't it, Mr. Kesh? That this is the new technology to free humanity. That's I think what the basis of this is.
You know the paymasters. Now you understand how much they tell me you could not do things in technology, why the first flying car in Belgium was stopped. Nobody except him, a couple of other people knew we were going to show the flying cars, and how they were in front of my door the day before the flight. So now you know technology has been complete, but we put trust in the wrong place. We fed our enemies with the fruit of our life, and at the end, he wanted to be present the day I was dying in Belgium and Caroline in Italy. Caroline refused, says anybody but him, because he's doing something wrong. If he comes, you're dead. And she was correct, because he most probably gave me the last cup, the way John served me the soup on the table. So this is part of opening that verse. If you are of the same thought, you keep in touch with him. If you're of the thought of the free man, you know where to put him. I did not start with it. We buried this in our heart and in our life for years with Caroline. That's why we disassociated ourselves from him, because we saw every time he was involved, there was a problem. Telephone calls goes behind our back, canceling meetings and the rest. So you don't need much to say. So now you understand even how the King of Belgium knew where I was writing the book, because that person was the only one who knew, and my wife. We showed you the picture of the king in the restaurant in God knows back the streets of mountains on top of West Flanders, East Flanders. So it's finished. It's a bad experience in Belgium for us, but at least we are free. Out of the whole structure of living in Belgium, we had two good things. One was Olivia and one was Tom. Correct, perfect people. Both wealthy enough that they could not be sold to money, and they stood their ground. So now you understand one thing. How are we going to change the structure? The cat is out of the bag. Are we going to mass produce it, or are we going to mass produce it as a whole, as a humanity? We got to do it as a whole. We got to do it as openly as possible, that it allows us to change the course. In the coming days, you will see the power units. In the coming days, I'll show you how you connect the power units to water, and you can drink it with all the food you need. You want to see banana, you will see banana. You want to see beef, roast beef, whatever, we give you the image, the emotion, the feeling, the taste, and the texture. Because now you can convert the energy of the sun. Where does the taste come from? It's a field, it's a plasmatic field. Where does the matter content comes from? It's a plasmatic field of a different strength. So in time, very soon, you can create whatever you need, the way you like. You don't need to destroy the life of a man or an animal. In space, you can take the plasma in a gaseous state at a free state, but how much more water you wanted to take with you? Did you ever think for a second? You can have whatever you like, but I'll take water. Where are you going to produce water from? So this is the ultimate goal, that you take, you change as you need, when you need, anywhere in the universe. You cannot take if you don't need it. How much food do we waste? We take from the land and we waste. What are the rules and regulations? Have you ever spent time working in a supermarket? I did. As a student, I used to work for Marks and Spencer. Every Saturday evening, because Sunday was a closing time, we had to dump pallets and pallets of food because they had a date on them. And they were as good as brand new. And 2 doors down, we knew there were families who are dying of hunger. How many supermarkets throw food away every day because somebody has put a date on it? If something has a date on it, is it just for the people or for the government? How come government can use undated without dated food? You don't know this. Most of the military rations are held for years. How come they don't have a date? The minute it comes to public domain, has to have a date. Or we have no respect for our soldiers. I tell you, I know firsthand. In 1992, 91, 92, after all the breakup of the European community, the Russia went down, the borders were down, there were no need for armies anymore. In 93, 94, and thereon, British government decided to open up all the silos and whatever was kept from Second World War for reserve for war to be cleared out because there was no more war in European nations. So they got rid of it. I bought a lot of goods from it. I remember still these white, what do you call it, pans they used to use in the Second World War. They used to chip, laminated. All the operating rooms. We bought beds which were full of hay. Exactly they used it in the Second World War. They were all part of National Reserve. We received huge drums. We didn't know what it was, but we thought, what's this? We opened it up. Corned beef from Second World War. And they told us we have tested it. It's perfect. It still can be consumed. That's 40 years after the war. Corned beef of British government in silos of the British military was edible. Nothing goes wrong in a team. Why do you put a date on it and dump it to control prices? I have somewhere pictures of it because we bought it in an auction, in a governmental auction. And we raised the question, there's so many tons of it, trucks load of this thing. We want to know, you can sell it, but not in Europe. In Africa, people don't mind. We paid less than 10 cents a tin. I think about 5 kilo tin or 10 kilo tin, just to clean it out. They had to have a value. So if there is no date on tins and no date on food, how come it's only for him and for the other people, not for the rest? How come so much food gets dumped in the ocean to control? So now with this technology, you don't need to. You want a banana half yellow, half green. You like a raw, God knows, egg. I can give you anything. I don't. I teach you how to do it. As usual, you do it. I just show it. As what Alan is telling is, he's like a showman because I have to be a showman. I know the technology, but we had to show it. And he has a, but that's it like a black man, a man with the intelligence more than you. At least he doesn't touch children. So now, what are you going to do? How are you going to extend the knowledge? How are we going to do? Because from now on, the responsibility is not with government. The responsibility is not with your mayor. The responsibility is not with your supermarket. In the coming weeks, you can have watermelon 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. But your problem starts not on this planet. Your problem starts when you leave this planet in the coming months to go into space, that you have a huge problem. Your problem as a human being is one thing, and that is you are conditioned to the worst condition, and that is your physicality is conditioned into the clockwork. You have to sleep 8 hours a day that you can have energy to carry on. In a space, there are no days. How do you count the days? There are no months. How do you count the months? How there are no time that you can say, oh, I'm tired, I work 12 hours. They tell me, how can you carry on working, teaching 12, 14 hours a day and still go day after day? I don't use the energy from here. I use the energy which is given to me free. The physicality is just a way to be able to spread the knowledge. So how do you organize yourself in a space? Do you want to go to planet Zeus? Oh, this is 1 second according to the Earth time. Nobody cares. Nobody has, nowhere in the universe, meaning of time. How are you going to organize yourself that you're at peace with yourself? Are we going to still clock ourselves hours in a million years down the line when there is no clock, when there is no Earth? Or do we accept the totality of conservation of energy in respect to a plasma and start working? How do we time it? Do we go by energy that we have a cancer in 60 hours, 60 years, 100 years? Or do we eradicate all this from the structure? This is not a fairy tale anymore. You're living with it, it's here. Your energy source is clocking. This is not a fairy tale that it might happen. Look, we started an hour ago, whenever we started, and you see now you're 53.2 and you're at 9.8, 9.7. It's coming in and it's going out. And it's still rotating. Poor chap keeps on getting kicked, but it still does his job. If I was kicked as many times by me when I don't see it, God knows. If I was a horse, I would have kicked back. Tomorrow, to show further correctness of technology, we change this bike to another bike. Tomorrow, we start loading cars here in Italy. Battery-operated cars is getting set up that we can start loading directly from the system. Because in this situation, we need the grid to call upon the energy. In the cars, because they carry God knows how many batteries, we'll video it after we start. Then the batteries, because they've been deliberately depleted of energy, they call for it. So the demand creates the energy flow from the plasma. So you will see the first rechargeable car directly at a cost of zero forever, maybe within the next 2 or 3 days, if these two masters get pull their fingers out and do some work. Poor chap, he was working till 10 o'clock last night. Marco was busy in the dark. He couldn't get the light going. He's so enthusiastic to do it. He was doing it in the light of the window from outside. We found out there was something wrong with the plug. And so he carried on till 10 o'clock. I left about 8, 8:30. I'm left about 8 o'clock. There's a lot of work getting done in the background. In a new research center, we have no limitations. It's a pleasure to work. We are free and we work. So now you see the change is not a fairy tale. It's just a warning. I warn very clearly the world leaders, your time of leadership is clocking. It's ticking very, very fast. Because if you do not come in together to push the technology the right way, people will force it on you, then you have no say. Maybe this is the right way to be done. Bottoms up. Because on the top, we gave the key. We haven't seen the American government doing nothing about it, but finding more what the Iranians have that they can block more. But now everybody else has it. And the beauty of it is, the more people have, the more people are speaking. The more people are teaching each other. The more people are explaining to each other. I had a beautiful communication from Emmanuel from Malta this morning. He's found an industrialist who can make the energy systems for Malta and North Africa. And he says, I am teaching him about the GANs making and things that he knows what to do when he starts making the system. To start teaching industrialists what is the outcome for the technology. People all over the world that are teaching each other. The cat is out of the bag. There is no choice but to collaborate, to share, unconditional, and don't become thieves and patent. Because anybody comes out with a patent, we have a very good solution. Everybody has it. What do you want to patent? You patent it, but you can't come to 7 billion people and say, how come you copied mine? Because you stole from us, we already have it. So what you can come? You want to go around to claim? Those who patent are nothing but the thieves in the night. They come as a friend, they rob your pocket at night while you're asleep. We've seen it with their fluorescence. And then they claim insanity. There is a very good say. You know why their fluorescence came and suddenly attacked us? Because when they came back, they found out Mr. Hoy will not pay for something which now we put in the hand of the Chinese government. If they sell one needle and somebody dies, by the Chinese law, Mr. Hoy is lying for execution because he's done something with the knowledge there was a possibility of killing. The anger of attacking us is because of what they lost. It's a very interesting joke. I was telling about it to Arman and Marco this week, a couple of days ago. A lady goes to court and claims rape, crying to the judge, I've been raped. The judge, very sympathetic, goes through the whole procedure. Yeah. He says, excuse me, madam, can I ask you, what is your job? She says, I'm a prostitute. He says, how do you know as a prostitute you've been raped? He says, when the check the client came back from the bank. It means I was not paid. This is how their fluorescence, when he couldn't cash the money with Elia Kostova, who is the patent writer, became angry and all these things. Up to that day, they were millionaires. That day on, they became criminals, and it wasn't good. So we had to become criminals to look good to them. The check bounced on them. So now you understand how you have to work. The Cash Foundation people have to work as a team. Doesn't matter where you are. As I told you, as I told the Chinese, get in touch with us, to the Brazilians, to to the Mexicans in the Mexican teaching on Tuesday, to the people from Chile. We send you not a blueprint, but we send a working unit that you can see how to work, how to do it, and maybe, not maybe, 100%, change it for better, that you send us a blueprint back. We've done it this way, it's easier. This is how it's got to work. Unconditional love, which means giving the technology to each other without asking for anything, because the purpose is to have all equal and share knowledge equal. We've seen the share of knowledge has brought peace between nations in past weeks. Enemies at each other's throats, now they share knowledge. I shared knowledge freely with the Americans, and the Americans freely took the condition, and now we see the peace because of it. So it can be peace, because when we have all we can have. Yesterday we were looking for GANs, and I didn't see that Marco put everything everywhere. He puts it so open that you don't see it. There are buckets of GANs of different materials all over the table in the lab, and we don't see it. He says, I don't have enough GANs, and me and Armand looking for GANs. We find a bucket there, and then we find a corner. He's put all the GANs of different things in a full table. And before we see it, what did I say? We have to write to the Cash Foundations around the world who likes to donate us some GANs that we can make the system quick. Because I know if you put a call out, we need the GANs, we'll receive it unconditionally. And this is what the process is. This is how it should be. Share knowledge, we give you knowledge. We sent the blueprint for the cola reactor last night to the manufacturers. What time did it go to them? Giovanni, what time did we send the print of the prototype to them? 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock last night? Yes. 8, 9 o'clock. By today, it's produced. 8:30. This is how Italians are eager to get their nation moving. Unemployment here is so heavy. People live, a large number of Italians live on 1 meal a day because there is none. There is no guarantee. It's not a leading nation in the world. There is not enough reserve to pay. If we can produce these cups, these systems in the next few weeks and launch it into Italy as we are planning to within the next week, 2 weeks, they can have energy. No man can go hungry. Don't look at Africa. In Europe, there are more hungry people than anywhere else. As well as I say, it's a fur coat with no knickers on. It's just a facade. It's waiting to kick. Maybe the Cash Foundation and what you are doing around the world is a line to save the whole lot. Because if a child can have a cup of water with all the energy he needs through one of these cola systems, as far as the child is concerned, he's drinking cola. I can put a print of any name she likes on it. But she receives the energy that she doesn't feel hungry. And she can have as many cups as she likes. The time of hunger, the time of pressure of food on man is over. And it's done by you, not by me. I just brought you the knowledge, and you, as a collective race, are doing it together. Do we need governments to tell us how to govern ourselves to be correct and just? Or do we trust thieves to tell us they're friends and they rob us for the government? We've seen it in their fluorescence. Do we bring a woman, we teach her everything about the health, and then she takes it and patents it somewhere for her own benefit? I read you, don't think I am joking, I read you a text that you know exactly where we are. These are not accusations, because we will stand in the court of justice. I tell you, I read you, because it has to be read that you know we don't talk out of line. Okay, very nice. I read it. Salam, Mr. Cash. I'm outside noisy. Please let me know what is the problem. I'll take care of it. This is from Sohail, China Cash Foundation. I found out Elia is in Singapore. She's getting the needles patented and several other things. We need to talk. She's out of control. Please advise. You can put on a camera. You can read it. You can see it. Now you know.
It's too blurry to read, Mr. Kesh.
Pardon?
It's too blurry to read on the camera there right now. It's not focused.
He's trying to adjust. The cameraman is trying to adjust. Yeah? You can read it?
Almost. It's a little focus issue probably. There. There it is.
Yeah. Okay, now you've seen it. This is why we came out with it. That's why we were right, and everything is stopped. And immediately after that, Mr. Hui lined up in the Chinese Cash Foundation assaulting us because he thought he got a golden chicken, and it turned out to be chicken shit. So now you know how correct Cash Foundation around the world work together. Mr. Hui posted something against us. Immediately, Chinese Cash Foundation through Lisa informed me there is such a thing. So you got to understand, these people don't understand one thing, that because of the correct conduct, people are not prepared to go back to the old habits.
Mr. Cash, can I add something
Yes.
there?
Yes.
Just to let everybody know on how the Cash Foundation is viewed in China, can you tell me what the population of China is that you think is on the internet?
I don't know.
I'm going to say about 1 billion.
Yeah.
We are ranked 5,000 in China in terms of the websites in the Chinese nation. So we are heavily viewed from China.
At the ranking.
Yes, that's correct.
Which is huge.
Huge. And
Huge.
yet we're ranked 200,000 in US. I wonder why.
Do they fiddle it like Wikipedia? I presume yes. In America, Cash Foundation is a 200,000 website. In China, 1.7 billion, the other 5,000. Yeah. So it means, like Wikipedia, American government is fiddling with the reading of the servers, what they want to put to keep you low. Because if you got to understand something, there is no democracy. You think you're free. Democracy. There is no democracy. Democracy comes through the new development of what we are doing. We bring it to ourselves. We bring it through the change correct conduct. We have a huge followers in China. And they do things. Don't forget, Chinese government is the only government who has agreed to sell the books, print the books, everything at the cost of the major university in China for the Chinese population. It's done by the Chinese cash supporters, and they took it. The rest is done by them. It should be published within coming weeks. All 3 books have been translated. They are going through the proofreading with the university. The final phase has been done with the book number 1. Because the scientists who were appointed by the government advised the government very directly, if we don't follow, we become a third world nation. We have to. That's why you see such a movement in China. That's why I tell the Chinese to come here. We give the unit to you. Please take the unit to Chinos, and they know who they are, directly to the president of China. This is the freedom from importing so much fuel and oil. It's a change of course. I tell you, please do not forget to be on the Cash Foundation teaching. If you know anybody in the press, if you know anybody in any of the televisions, international or internet, tell them to watch the 30th. It's so, for you, shocking that you cannot even imagine. Unless they stop or block us, like they did in Belgium, you'll be shocked in what about you're going to see and hear. I deliberately put it in that day because after Friday, we close shop, we let them sort the mayhem. I'm on the 30 days holiday. Switch the phones off, nobody can get to us. I'm a very, very clever man when it comes to the stupidity of knowing the man. So now you understand, don't miss the 30th. Anywhere you go, give them a link, watch the Cash Foundation, and it'll be done from the new Cash Foundation head office. Drinks are not on us. You pay for yourself in the machine. Correct? Give them a coffee? Nah. Then they go and beat us up again, right? All that, God knows what on the internet. Very easy, easily done. I tell you, when people are wrong, you don't need to do anything. You leave them long enough, they break their own leg. So now they broke their own leg. Somebody wrote in one of these links of declarations, Mr. Declarations, did you submit a patent? Did you write a patent? No answer. As a controller of the website, if he says yes, I was right to call him a thief. Don't forget, we have copied, downloaded everything, even the one he changed, because in time, we're going to tell you why. Was my incarceration and my poisoning deliberately planned and controlled? And how can you read somebody being poisoned off a horoscope? We want to know, unless you already knew. Prostitutes and Secret Service are very kind. So now we go to the next step. What is and how we are going to change the position of the energy and the water. If you have one of the energy systems, if you have made yourself energy system, when you receive a cola bottle, with the cola bottle, you try to make it sealed in a gas. The bottle sits in a container like this. Is preloaded with reactors and material. If you can keep it, and we can keep it sealed, or leave it in a sealed box that it doesn't get damaged, fill in with water, fill in with bread, fill it with anything you like, and it'll give you what energy you need. Do not become materialistic and look at the cable to plug it into the dashboard cigarette lighter. Don't forget, it's not an electric current. Don't forget, it's not a flow of electrons. It's a gravitational magnetic field released and absorbed. Part of it here becomes your energy supply there. The rest of it is still hovering within the environment of the container. Here, if you look in this container, the field, as I explained before to the knowledge seekers, sorry, bicycle, the field, part of it which comes here is absorbed by these beads. And so little of it is 5 times over what it takes the whole system. What about the rest of the field in this environment? You put water here, bread there, something else there, same bread over there, you have a different energy than the bread here. Do you want to make compartments with liquids like, as we've seen, like this? You take this one, you have your vitamin C. You have the other one next to it, sitting here or inside it. I have given you not a power supply. I have given you the essence of life. You were looking for a cup of life. I see you a can of life. Everything you want in it is there. We are setting the course through Sohail in China that you can load it up with what you like. You decide what you need. We are making the cola systems in a transparent cola. I wonder if Coca-Cola could do the same. Sell your drinks transparent. We're selling a system transparent. Then you will see how to replicate it, how to make it. Different position have different strength. You want banana? Here. You want cheese? Here. Don't forget, you don't get the cheese, you get the energy of the cheese which you need. And if you take from the container that much cheese and your body needs that much, the body just takes that much. The rest stays in the container and it never goes bad till next time you want to use it. If you want to carry your own soul, you can do the same in the container. But that needs a lot of understanding before you can do it. Because in the container, you still have a star formation, which has a free plasma, which carries your soul. Do we send and give a Coca-Cola to everyone around the world with a peace soul in one of the cores? The best way to do it. When you give it free, everybody takes it, and then they get addicted to it, and then you become peaceful. I don't tell you something fairy tale. This is what my family did years ago in Iran. When they brought Pepsi Cola, they sent trucks loads of it all over Tehran, and they gave everybody free bottles. And you can get the money back for the bottle. So they came to change the bottle, they got addicted, hooked on the cola. So now you know how Pepsi got famous in Iran. So it's very easy. We put, that's what I said, we put containers into everywhere. Cola bottles, food reserves. Too much to carry, Arman is making you a salt shaker size. Would you be ready today? We don't need motors. We're finished with motors. I think you had too much problem last night. You didn't hear the noise. We make systems to fit every kind of understanding. But at the end, it's the same product. So in the coming days, you can make it in any shape, size, and color you like. You got to decide how you do it. You got to decide how you shape it. You got to decide what I need to take from it and what I'm prepared to give from it. Would you take one of these and go to the house next door and says, I had enough cheese. Do you want some cheese? Would we take packs of sweet to each other's house when we go for a meeting or gathering? Or we take our own pen-sized fillings? I've made a new sauce. Try this one. It's good. And all you need to do, you put in a cup of water, it gives you the taste, you take it home. That's it. Plasma sauce will become flavorful at the time. Would you like to start in America? There'll be no obesity, huh? We won't see fat people. You're out of job, Arman. you better start buying the mobile home very quick. This morning, yesterday, yesterday, Ruby says to me, you know, I want one thing, Papa. I said, he says, I want a Back to the Future car. I said, Arman is buying it. He says, can I drive it first? Did you manage to get it? No? Lost it? He sold it.
Actually, Mr. Kesh, I seen a picture today on Facebook that that had a DeLorean in it, and I have to say it looked pretty good.
Pardon?
I said I seen a picture today on Facebook with a DeLorean in it in regards to what you just said there, and it was
Well, there's a Cat Foundation logo on it.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, God. Can we have the real thing? Last time I tried the Mercedes, the Belgium didn't like it. They came and took it and we crushed it. Nah, we want that one. No, no, there is full of them. Italian cars, we live in Italy. It's all Italian cars. I like these little ones. I don't know how I'm going to get in one. Have you seen one? When I stand next to it, I just look, how am I going to get in? I think I'm going to go from the top, and there's no door to get out. It's safe. I'm going to buy one very soon if I see one in the street. Pardon? What is it? Ah, no problem. So,
Armin's showing you that picture, Mr. Kesh?
yes?
Okay, good. Sorry, I thought Armin was showing you that picture.
No, no, I've just seen it. I'll leave it to you.
Okay.
So now you see how the can be used. Because the can creates a combination of plasmas. Maybe we have to sell different star formation. You like fish today, you have a fish plate, but everybody eats the same fish. But according to your taste, you eat what you like. One have a shrimp, one will have a saltfish, and the rest. Cooking is made very easy for the ladies, huh? You like us? It wasn't just the youth cup which destroyed it. The food cup makes it worse. Pardon? So you understand the situation. You understand the structure. You understand? You got to extend the limit beyond your knowledge which you understand and see what you haven't understood that you can add to the knowledge. What is this one? This is a new car. You've done that. Beam me up, Scotty. Oh, Citroen. Ah. What does it actually do? It's just a picture. Does it fly? Does it? Don't think so. There is a, oh, we've seen these cars with the Volkswagen. Just because they put it there, it doesn't mean it does work. Huh? It's like you. Huh? Just because you're sitting there, you haven't managed to fly yet. By the way, Sandy, the carpet is still in the car waiting for you. No problem? Is there a discussion? No? So now you understand what is to come. You know the cola bottle, the cola can will be transparent. So this is how we are. We are totally transparent. We're so transparent that we call our enemies on the line. Would you like to talk? So you see the structure, you see the system. You see how it works. Something Brad called, you got to understand how they go to find out who you know to undermine. Why should a Brad receives an email to undermine? From declarations. This way, you don't need to undermine nobody. This way, you rely on your own intelligence. And as I said before, in space, you're the last man standing. Do you wait to die? Or do you find a pleasure in living as long as it's you, and then in between you find a solution to find a spare ribs to make a partner? Because if you understand further on the totality of this, the spare ribs is a reality. Sandy, you're in problem. The spare ribs. So now you understand how the technology is coming home. It's so simple. Think what just been said this morning. If you want to make this, we have to give this to somebody else to do it, to blah, blah, to do it, making this the top, the bottom, and all the complications. The system for energy is so simple that has been going to be manufactured in 24 hours. A prototype. Can't be that difficult, can it? Is the simplicity of it which is going to change the structure of the society. As a lot of you Americans are waiting for, is the imminent earthquake in Los Angeles. Yeah? Correct? We are waiting for the same thing in Tehran. The government estimates 10 million deaths that they are not even going to open up to bury because there is no resource. They change capital when the earthquake happens. This is the direct line of the government. And it's imminent. The same as Los Angeles. What are we going to do? We're going to allow the other 14 million in Tehran to suffer broken legs, burn, hunger, disease? Or do we get ready now that we have a cola can ready that we give to one that they can heal themselves, they can process themselves, they can have water and food, and if I show you a way, the same can give you shelter. They call Los Angeles Tehrangeles, and there is no difference if you're in Tehran or Los Angeles. Millions of Iranians in Los Angeles and millions of Iranians in Tehran. Earthquake both at the same time, there'll be a huge disaster for both ends. Because human race is one. The suffering does not know place and dimension. The Cash Foundation around the world, once we launch these cans, it's your job to create as many as you can for the eventuality of being ready to see disaster. Because it's part of the structure of this planet. We move, we live on an ocean of lava with the masses to move. What about the next tsunami? Why hundreds of thousands of people, years after the Pakistan earthquake, are still living in tents, no water and no shelter? How many of people in what you call Caribbeans are living still after the earthquake of a few years ago? Why can't we get a cup to them with everything? Because if you can control the combination in your reactor, you can create medicine, antibiotics, the things that the body needs without relying on somebody might give it to you. I have a challenge, and the challenge goes directly to one person, and he knows who he is. You have 30 billion plus in your reserves, the stichting, the same as our stichting in Holland. Release the assets that we can make the cups, create jobs. He calls himself philanthropist. We've been sitting on a meeting with them. Bill Gates has that much money plus in a charity to help. We make the cups for less than, whatever, $20, $30. All humanity will be served. This is a challenge to the world leaders. We work for world peace, or we put a can of peace across the world, and then you have no say. Within next, by Tuesday, Monday, we can show you the can. Correct? Possible. It depends on the Italians. If they don't go for a lunch break and forget that they have to come back. Adjustments. Yeah. Yesterday, they came to put lights in the center. What did we see? 2 cases, and then they disappeared. We didn't see them for the rest of the day finished. No, they just left the boxes and the toolbox. The Italians, they go for a pizza. It's so big, they don't manage to finish it. The day is over. It's not my fault. That's what you do. So if actually, you know something, these guys are not needed because then they become the false people. This process has to be done by man for man. Then it's done, it's finished with. What is the discussion? The Italians again just got pizza? So now what are we going to do? How are we going to structure? How are we going to change the position of the same system if and we understand that the working is the same? You want to go back to produce water, the material of the water, or convert the energy at a certain point to the matter you like. This is a universal system, a sun, but collection of billions of them. They radiate their light out, and you got to use how you're going to use the light, or what we call the plasma of the energy. To what extent are we going to produce things? To what extent are we going to block the systems of not creating germs, not creating microbes, and everything else in these structures? How are we going to put things in order that we can even repair physical damage? Here you have the bread. What about if you have a burned arm? What about if you have a broken arm? What about if you have a cancer cell? What about if you are mentally disordered because of the psychological pressures? Change the bread and the water into the mind of a man or the cell of the man, put it there, leave the man there. What comes to this cup comes to him. Wireless transmission of energy. Instantaneous change of energy. In the next couple of weeks, you will see it here. Yesterday, he will come and show it to you. You can change the AC to DC port as you like from your plugs. And when it was explained to me, I thought, okay, what's next from you? The mind is so brilliant that has no limitation. I just ask for it, it finds a way to deliver it. And money cannot, this is too much. This is taking too much time. He's become a plasma junkie. It needs excitement. That's Alex. So now what are we going to do? We hear scientists or plasma scientists in the Philippines are making a huge groundbreaking through technologies about energy in automotive. And the thing is, Alex doesn't wait for me to say, can we? He says, you can come on Thursday and present it. It's already taken over. I said, no problem. If you can get hold of them, you're going to have them on. Is Alex online? Oh, he must be asleep. He works late developing. So you got to see how things set, how things are played with the plasmas, with interaction of the plasmas, interaction of the plasma with solid strength matter of the plasma. Then you see how far you can take it. You got to allow the understanding to expand, and then you see lift, motion, energy will be nothing. These cola bottles will be cola cans, I should say, containers. We've got to find a name for them which goes with us. We call them plasma sources. Because people have to be able to say, we don't want to call, there's a nastiness of cola out of the system. We call them plasma sources. Pardon?
One person in the chat just sort of accidentally called it a plasma flask, and about the cups of life, calling them a plasma flask.
It's got to be something that doesn't matter in what language, we all understand one thing. You go to China, you don't go and say, you know, like me yesterday, trying to get somebody to give us a sugar, you know, connection of the wires. 3 people to 1 Italian in a shop explaining what we want. It took half an hour just to say we want a connector. You know these connectors, you have a screw here, you put a wire here, you can get it from here. It took us half an hour, 3 people, to explain to Italian, well, oh, we have it, no problem, now I know what you want. And it takes us all the way across the shop. Sorry, we sold out. That's Italian. And it's a huge supermarket. So now we have to find a word that all of us, we go to China, we go to Africa, we say plasma, they know what we're talking about.
Well, one obvious one would be the Kesh cup, but you may not want your name associated directly. Right.
Find a solution where we all, in all languages, can say, and doesn't become like a Pepsi or cola, because in Poland they cannot say C. Then they know what you're talking about. So we make a noise for it. We made guns out of gas nano letter. What is a common language between us? Let us bring the first word that we all understand, except mom. Mother is a common language across the universe. And it's the same, it's the source of life. So we call it Pama, plasma mother. What about Baba?
Amma? Is that what you said, was Amma?
Yeah, I know one. I know one. We call it Mampa. Mother, plasma. Mampa is good. Wherever we go, we say Mampa. You have a Mampa, I want an orange flavor Mampa. And do you know one thing, what is remaining? Rubin used to have a problem to say mama, which one is mama, which one is papa. He didn't know the sector. So he called us Mampa. Then we both knew one of us is there. So we become Mampas. Mama plasmas. Because then we don't have a language barrier. We always speak the same thing. Food, energy, whatever. And the beauty of it is, as was written in that article, he cannot state the current voltage output and input. So it has nothing. Is your energy, is your food, it has no level to it. And the beauty of it is, in the life of a man, it'll never run out because there's so much to give. There is no limit, there is no end to it. And so we have to come to understand, as a human race, from now on, we are on a new cycle. It's not the industrial revolution, it's a revolution in the soul of the man, in understanding the equality of the man through equality of resources. No priest can fool you, and no man can sell you in a confession box to nobody. You're happy? When you're happy, the whole world is happy. So you sell your mampa, but mampa has no limit. You can have a strawberry filling or banana filling. I tell you one, the best one will be sold very soon is mampa of love. Would you like have one? You don't know what's in it. As we say with the Arman, we have wife, he has a life. The problem is, with our wife, we have life. He has no wife, he has no life. So he's always working late in the lab, where we have to be home because the wife has to be satisfied. At least somebody to be psychologicalized, because they nag enough that we become their psychologist. Okay, now let's see how we can use these new power systems in the benefit of ourselves and the society. Don't forget, the structure of the cup is very simple. If you put a line to it, you can get what you like. I had, who was it? I can't remember, yesterday or the day before. He said, in America, we use, no, it was guy in Canada, what's his name? He said, can I use the system? Here we have 120 plus 120, we make 240. In America, you have 120, 110. Am I correct? Yeah? Most of the world, we are 220, 240. Nowadays, when you want to go from one country to another, one nation to another, you need different plugs, different connections. One is 3 dot, one is 2 dot, one is 3 dot in line. One is a 3-phase, that's the worst one. One is a 3-phase, and one is a 2-phase, and one is a 1-phase. Depends which phase you connected yourself into. With the plasma technology, more or less, most of this is irrelevant. Because when the plasma reaches the system, it's 240, it delivers 240. Because it's not a vibration, it's not a cycle, it's the need of the system to operate. So when it comes to 110, 120, there's this, 110, 120. 20 to 40 is there. 1-phase, 3-phase, whatever it is, because it's the plasma which decides what is the demand and delivers the demand. So, and then, because it's a plasma, all you need, now you don't need a wireless anymore. You want to have a connection to confirm your own existence with a wire plug to somewhere. It changes according to the point of demand. So all this commotion finishes the same as the Chinese did with their telephone adapters. In China, you bought a telephone, you had different adapters from different companies. Now they pass through one adapter should fit everything for everyone. Saved a lot of money for the government. Importing a lot of material, people holding tens of, God knows, every time they change the phone, there was a new adapter. Now it's all one apparently. So because of this, it doesn't matter, you don't even need a plug. As long as you get yourself. If you connect it in a specific way, you get a DC. If you connect it in another way, you get AC. Every power supply demand is met. And there is no limitation on it. 10 kilowatt, 1 kilowatt, you have to build it. You have to create a demand and push the demand to the point of acceptance. And then he sets is done. So part of the present problem, buying things in one nation, not be able to use it and change of the plug, is over. It's done with. It was part of the failure of the society has been. It's the same with transportation. As you know, you cannot put a European train on a Russian track. You don't know that. Whenever you come to Russia, you have to get off the train and go somewhere else to load up again. Bill is going. He loves this size business. Every time you don't see him. What did they do? The track is, the gauge is slightly wider. If you put a European one, it falls down. It doesn't have nowhere to go. So, but now that you're flying, it doesn't matter how wide the track is. You say we haven't seen him flying yet. If you've seen the energy, believe me, you can fly too. Actually, if you understood that system is already ready to fly. But you don't see it. That's why it's still on a weight scale of 12 kilograms, 600. It goes down to 1256. It goes up to 1264. Have you ever asked for it? We don't do anything with it. How come it changes by 80 grams or 60 grams? How we changed it in the other lab in the Sensano by kilograms? Because you have to understand how to distribute the field forces. How to distribute the magnetical gravitational field forces. You have to start understanding what you need to give and what you need to take from which one, that it gives you descent and ascent. You have beads there. If you place your beads and you take energy from the beads in a sequence of this side, you go this way. If you change these beads, you go that way. You got your directional flow. You have all the knowledge. It's you, within the next few weeks, who's got to complete the first stages, and then I give you a hand into the next. Marco is working on a beautiful system. When we show it, then you will understand how simple the operation is. If you see the new system Harman is working on, you think you got your closet, huh? It's a shoe closet. No, actually, it's a, what is it? You can put anything in it. You don't like it, you want to. I bought this deliberately because to me it was fantastic to buy it this way. I can laugh. He laughs. It's compartments. You didn't get it when I got it for you, huh? Now it sinks home. Now you understand. I want to change to fish. All I need to do is to change this tray. It's all trays. You want to fly, you change this tray. You want now energy source which just makes food, you take this out and you put what food you want in there. Now you understand why you got it. Marco goes like this, it's dangerous. It means now I know what I'm going to do. You want a closet? I'll buy you one today. But the closet is too small for your setup. small. Everything with him is big. Yeah, but it can't keep on changing. This is very good. It's just you slide out, you change your system. You will see it is green in color. Bill says, we can make one of those, no problem. We got a better one in the States. Let us get there and after that. So now you can, what I was telling you, you see we are practicing it, we are putting it in operation. Correct? So you just change. Up to now, we had a huge problem with these reactors that are cumbersome. You learn step by step. Now you see what it can do. Weighs very little. We keep a stack of it. We invite you for fish and chips. The core loaded to taste fish and chips. We don't need to do anything else because the cup size is here. It's a big container. 2 liter, 3 liter. You can have whatever we decide. We can stack them up. It's a way I can buy 2, 3 more, and they just stack up. We can have different flavors, different things as we go on. You wish you never started that, huh? This is what we are putting together with Armand and Marco, and we just bring it as one unit. You will see it. So, in so many ways, we bring the whole knowledge, and if you decide to fly, you put a flight unit in. You decide to create a shelter, you just change the tray. This is what is sitting now in the research lab in the other building. It should be ready by tonight, maybe tomorrow. We have already made the cola bottle obsolete, but we still have to go through the process to see how far we go. Actually, we haven't made it obsolete. It becomes much more efficient. It becomes very efficient, very small container, delivering everything you need. Are there any questions? A lot, but nobody has the guts to ask the wrong one. And I have one. The thing is, let me tell you something. Sorry, Rick. Once we completed it, like everything else we've done, straight away, we put it on the net, we show you how to make it, and we give you an option, you can buy it from the foundation. It means worldwide, people can help themselves to all the knowledge instantly. The blueprints, I'm sure Marco and Armand and others will make a video of it. We put it in public. Everybody can do the flight system, everything else, and then you find out the next step of development. But I still tell you, don't miss the 30th of July, because this will be a changing point. And I'll explain to you when it happens. If they don't block us, we'll do it. Last time, when I wanted to show the car, the guy said to me, do you have a flying license? This time, the flying license is outside, belongs to the foundation. We don't need a license anyway. If we decide to fly. They never issued anything. Whenever my dog has a license to drive, they issue a plasma license too. Every time you see him, Pluto, he comes behind the steering wheel. I said, have you got a doggy license to drive? He says, no. I said, sit there.
Maybe you have to call it something different other than flying. You could call it you're doing positive positioning or something like that. So therefore, there's no laws against positive positioning.
We call it Mumpa machine.
Yes.
Mumpa Magra machine. Okay, so that depends. You can come on. Everything is Mumpa from now on. Okay, We go to Mampa station. We don't go to flying station. We don't go to the airports anymore. I'm going to go to Mampa. Where are you going? I'm going to Mars today. So I wonder if they'll do any, what do you call it? This, there's a word for it. You go down the road with other people, they want to go to the same destination. You give them a lift. There's a name for it? No. In
Uber. Uber.
Pardon?
Uber, you mean the new Uber cab service?
No. When you're going down the road, you got other people, you arrange, okay, I'll give you a lift, you all go together. No. Time sharing, car share. The car share. The Dutch are very good at it. In Holland, Amsterdam, yeah, I don't know, I think it's still there. Amsterdam to Rotterdam and other cities, they had, because they didn't want to build roads again. So what they've done, they have made one lane for the car with more than one passenger because everybody is going to the same carpool. Yeah. So what they did, now you can get in. If there are two or more people, you can use this lane. If you're one person, you're there, you get every penalty. I have paid it. I know what it means because I didn't know that Dutch had this rule. Oh, so easy. I can go too. But then it comes. What the Dutch did that time when it started, they needed to show there is somebody else. President Reagan was the most famous one. A blow-up one they used to put on the street. It looks like President Reagan. So nobody got a ticket. You could see all the Dutch people going with the President Reagan. They're all looking the same. The police got notice of it. They had to do something with it. Now the car pulling for you lot becomes very easy. The funniest thing is, you know, in London, they have cameras everywhere. You come into the traffic zone, heavy zone, and then you have to pay. If you don't pay by 10 o'clock at night, you get a ticket. What happened now when you're flying? The camera never sees you coming in and you go out. Everything we put to restrict ourselves is through the window. I said before, would you like to pay 10 million euro for a penthouse in the center of London? Or you can have the most beautiful mansion in the middle of nowhere and come here, buy it for 100,000, come to London and back home in South Africa in 10 minutes. The game has changed so much, it's going to change so much in the next 2 years that the man will come to understand what the heck did we do all these things to ourselves for nothing. New materials, new lifestyle, but the beauty of it this time will not belong to Western Europe. People don't need to go to London to see it. They can have it in the village of Africa too. Because it's the same thing. Because the roads will not be driven on, they become the roads of Africa, dirt tracks. So now how do you organize? How we change these reactors from the case to case, and then we change the position in carrying everything with us. Is there a need for pharmaceuticals, or do I need to make a tray for health? Do I need to slide it in and that's it? Cost 10 cents. Now the destiny of man is in the hand of the man. How you want to change it? I've given you the gift. Don't misuse it this time. At least work correctly that you can save the race in the correct way without the prejudice of the race, color, religion, or whatever. Then we go somewhere positive. It's not just having electricity and food. It's changing the ethos of living that we love as one nation, one planet. We go to the next step. And it'll be done. In the next few days, your life will change. Because we are not patenting it. We don't give it to Dr. Russell to write a patent that none of you can understand that he can screw you with it. And we put it all on the line that you can copy as fast as you can. And if you like to make a donation to Keshe Foundation, that we develop more, we say, thank you very much. Because then we can build for the ones who can't. For the mothers who can't afford feeding the children, for the man in Africa, which has been living in the doldrum of life because his nation has been robbed for so long by the white. So how far we're going to go from now on depends on how you're going to change the tray. I'll bring you the tray. You can look at it how simple it is. It's a crude way. But the same thing is with a cola bottle can. You change the sliding door. That's what I said when they built it. Make sure we can change this. We can add to it. Because it hasn't got any vacuum. It's an atmospheric condition. And like a CD, you can have a sliders. Slide in the banana disc. Slide in the flying disc. And it won't be bigger than this. And you don't need to pay $6 billion from American Reserve to change from one color to another to be able to have a smaller disc. Because if you can do it, at the moment you are using Vince, what's the diameter of the drawing we have for the cola bottle, cola can? 65 millimeter. What's the size of it? 65 base. That's what we are working on. 65 base, and I think it's 150 millimeter height. This is a design which has gone to the manufacturer. And it's taken Jeff all weekend. The man has spent all his time this weekend, day and night, to make sure it's done, it's ready. Thank you very much, Jeff, for all the hard work you've done. So this is part of what it is. If you are going to do it in a structure of the present time, I need payment in advance, you do this, you do that. The man knows his work will change the course of humanity. His work day and night just said, I need some rest. If I read you his emails, his texts, day and night, the whole weekend, he's done, he changed, sorting things out. So, because without asking for anything, because he knows his work will change the course. So, it's irrelevant because he knows money is not worth anything anymore. Or shall we call him DuPont? And somebody else will come with another name. So you got to start understanding how the change of these beads will give you different conditions. And these beads to you now is gases. You should see the new beads. You say, what do you say? Huh? The new beads, are they beads? No. It's a hollow condition combined with another hollow reality, which is reality hollow. It's amazing how a point comes that you can release more information in a block of information. If we do it, we complete it, and his department of compartment boxes completes, then we'll see how fast we can change the course. Now you're talking about different gases, we'll find people offering different trades. We have managed, and we'll show it, just take Armand and Marco to realize a little bit more, to create a hollow star. We have managed to create a hollow plasma, and we have to shape it in a way that we can control it. Then we can decide how the hollow plasma looks after itself. It's very nice if it works the way we think it should do. Actually, you can sit at home and do it yourself. Pull the wires off the wall and make yourself the hollow, because they're worth more than what they're doing in the wall. In so many ways, we restructure the whole physicality of what we have structured around different ways. If you can change the system of one plate, you have your shelter. And now you change another plate, you can change the color of the wall of your house tonight till tomorrow morning. You got a long to come here. Change the tray, have change of dimension. You can increase the shelter to any size you like. You create a flow in a different directions, and then you can extend your house in one direction or the other. I wonder how you're going to be taxed this time by the government. Here in Italy, they take satellite picture of your house every day, more or less. Ah, you added a swimming pool. You added 2 doors in the front, now it's 1 door less. Only 2 doors. They continuously scan the nationals. So now you've seen AC/DC has no meaning. Your power change has no meaning. You have no problem with plugging. You change the course of the map. And you see it. It's not a dream. It's sitting there right in front of you. It's just how you're going to manipulate it. How you're going to change it. How you're going to position it. This is a very crude way. But if you manage at the moment, your beads, you just keep it on the beads. Go up, there, the other way. You see, your beads are like this, just hanging to show they can do something. When you organize your beads and control the plasma flow, that's all it is. In these beads, it's only a plasma flow. It's not a current flow. There's no electricity going through it. It's the motion and capture of the plasma. If you can change it, what you want from it. Do you want a banana from this side, apple from this side, beef from this side? Now the control's in your hand and nobody else's. But as I said, if you decide to make a house out of gold, you know what to do in the center, make your gold. It becomes like Russia. Everybody used to have a golden tooth. They used to smile, just to be rich, we can afford a golden tooth. Correct? We have a Russian delegation in the cause of Americans sitting here. They say, doesn't let me alone, does it? You made a huge mistake becoming a student in the Keshe Foundation. The biggest mistake you ever made. You changed the humanity, now you're going to pay for it. The beauty with Armon is that the smile has fooled all of you and you're doing it, but in a way, you've seen you want to catch a fish, you run a trap to the, a bait till the fish comes, and you follow all of them in. Our bait was him. Now you're all followed in. You're all in it. You called it Armon reactor and Armon this, and then it became more and more, but you never saw you're just all going into the same trap hole. Now the trap is closed. You got to find a way out of it through essence of your soul and correct conduct. And don't become thieves, because there is no room for thieves. Any questions?
Okay. Do you have some questions? Karen B has a question. She says, Rick, please ask Mr. Kesh. She calls it the plasma flasks. I think she means a cup of life, basically. The plasma flask, surely they will absorb the negative fields of the person through the hand on top. So we should not use these for self-gratification, only for pure necessity. Do you understand that?
Or what does he mean?
It's a she, Karen. I'm not sure exactly, but basically she means that whether the cup of life will absorb the negative fields of the person through the hand that's on
Of
top.
course, it carries everything. I have a very good suggestion for you. Next time when you see the cup of life, when you stand on top of the gas, shouting it, I love you. And see if the other guy receives it, or a woman feels the love. Then it shows your sincerity. Was it just the voice? What was it, the emotion? Say, you said me a cup of life, but it says I hate you, because I can see the emotion in it.
Right. So her ending is that so we should not use these for self-gratification, for only pure necessity. So in that sense, one shouldn't use the cups for to get some sort of advantage or something, but it should be in a used in a loving environment, not for
I don't know.
personal.
See, most probably a lot of people will do it. We'll find out.
Like, for example, the question comes to me.
Look what he shows. He carries a cup and he carries this love. These have been hanging around here too long. I wonder who loves who. This is too much love in this place. This is full of it. Look, who was it there? There's another one. They put the water on it and they go home like zombies. There's another love here. Hello, darling, I've come home.
That's why they can't spend any time in the lab then, I guess.
You got to ask that from Rick. From Marco. What's the other question? Marco doesn't have one of them. He hasn't given one to Marco. The people who have one, you have one. It's at home. He loves so much he doesn't need a stone. He just showers it out. Next question.
Okay, there was a question from EC. In the CO2 reactor with liquid GANs and a nano powder and the dry GANs, does the dry GANs not return to the liquid GANs when mixed with it?
No. Actually, we had a very strange experience yesterday, 3 of us. We decided to open the flying saucer plant pots, which you've seen it. And we thought, okay, must have all the liquid in it. Everything should be the same. And we opened it. We opened 2 of them. There was no water left in it. They were totally out of water. But the gases are still in a moist condition. They're not powdered. They're still moist. But there's no water. And then Arman said to Marco, what do you think? It says if they rotate you for 6 months like this at 2000 RPM, there'll be no water in you too. But the strange thing is that the gases are moist. Gases, through the gravitational magnetic field, they have managed to hold on to the moisture of the water content between them. If all the water is gone, you expect it to be dry, but no, actually, it's exactly like the structure of the human body. moist, and they're all uniform in a ring. There's no disturbances, and it's beautiful. I think we should have taken a picture of it to show it. We can still get, we got another 5 or 6 of them. We haven't opened yet. And you see, they take their own structure. They don't separate. And the question is, where is the water? Where has all that moisture in the core has gone to? Armand says the top were open, is evaporated. If you just run the same after a few months, what about the aluminum one we loaded? Are they empty or are they full? There are always water in them. But still, why they are moist? Why is it not dried? They've been running at what, 2000 RPM? Since when? October? No? They were there before we go on holiday, Christmas holidays, I think. January, 6 months, 7 months. So what does this do? Why do we see, if you look at this, do you have a knife? Do you have anything we can cut with? Yeah, there's the scissors here. Yeah, the strange thing is, those of you who have worked with the GANs, you've seen this, you know what I'm talking about. But if some of you haven't seen it, you see the separation of the water and the GANs is very clear. But the more we take water out, the condenser it becomes, but it never dries up. It goes lower and lower to the point that there is a moisture, but there is no dryness. It works in a very positive way, but maybe that's why there is still in the moisture, there's still a sliding, they're still releasing the fields. So when it dries, you take that motion of the, what do you call it, gases from each other. Can I give you this one? Next question.
Okay, there's a question regarding if in a family house there are 3 separate clocks and measuring units for the electric supply. She's talking about the meters, the electric meters. Whether that's enough to engage one power supply unit for the whole house. In other words, will the cash power supply unit supply 3 meters worth of a house that has 3 meters in it?
It just matters. One supplies, the rest goes to the grid. But I think it's the grid which decides who has the power. Unless you disconnect yourself from the grid and put meter in one house and one battery. So everybody in the same building being disconnected from the main, but just don't turn the fuse off. Just don't take the fuse out. You have to disconnect full line connection. This is what I said about the nuclear power station. You have to literally take pieces of wire out, that there is no physical contact, flow of the plasma. We will show it as we go along. I think more and more people will put the information, because I see a lot of people are moving away from GANs making and producing GANs. And I think still one of the best volunteers for the first flight in the open, not the ones which are not showing, is the Fat Boy. The Fat Boy is a front runner for full lift. If he gets it right, he can show it if he wants to show it, and we'll see what the next step is.
There's a question from Walter, if we can weld with the new system.
Yes, you can. We already done it in the lab. We already welded a stainless steel table. We showed it last week or the week before.
Okay.
Because Let me explain. Just don't understand the whole principle behind it. When you do, you have the energy in two levels, and if you bring another material which connects the two energy levels, they release all the energy in one spot. The energy is released to the point of contact. That's what I did. I didn't know. I just put the beads on the table and it was fused. Because you release massive amount of energy which is stored into one place. You can use it for anything. You can use it for sewing if you don't have to use it.
Sewing? How, how, how
If
do you
you're a
envision
plasma
sewing?
physicist, it's fantastic job for the ether. We can power the whole ether project with a few cents now, with a free plasma. I'll explain to you when we come to it.
Okay, we have a question from Mike. Can you dump the contents of the cup of life into another cup and still get the same health benefits? And basically, can it be stored? Can you put it into a
No.
different cup and store it?
No, because don't forget, a cup itself is conditioned to its environment which is there. This is what I always tell my people, the volunteers, drink directly from the cup. Don't empty another glass or whatever and take it somewhere else for a holiday or for work. Because by that time, other environments have affected the condition.
Is it true that it would be difficult or impossible to market such water, such fluid? In other words, to market in terms of putting it on a market shelf, having that kind of product, because it has to be individualized to its own environment, does it not?
No, 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 no. You can market it, but then people take from it what they need. But it'll be the energy of the water. But they take from what they. But when you have everything yourself, you don't need to do it. But you can do it. You can mass produce it, and then you can sell what do you call it, whatever flavor or whatever you need. But let's say if I buy an Indian curry from it, the heat will not be the same for me as you buy the same batch for somebody else, because it's tuned to plasmatic magnetic field of my body in respect to what is there.
So one that was being mass produced would have to be sort of a general a general tonic sort of thing, perhaps.
I've done this test with Caroline quite a few times. She drinks the water and says, "Oh, this is sweet or this is light," and I drink it, and it's to me a bit salty or it has no taste. We know that it depends on what we need, what our body needs at the point of need.
So I guess what I'm saying is, could you sell, say, the water itself in a market, or would you have to sell the system, the cup rather than the water? It would have to be both.
We're going to see deviations and variation in this. Depends what people want to do and how it's going to be done. Depends if you change the bead, you change the combination of the core, which core you might change, in what respect.
And it could affect each individual differently and so on too. So there's lots of research to be done before we're ready for any kind of commercial on the supermarket shelf product, right?
We don't know how they're going to do it. There are no laws and regulations about these things. And by the time people to come to understand, to make laws and regulations, people will do everything. At the moment, within the next few months, there'll be, what do you call it, a mayhem of lottery for people. Everybody will try anything. If you hear and see what I see in the background with what Alex has done is coming out, a lot of people don't want to go public with it, but the things they are doing to it, with the knowledge they have, I see some amazing things coming up. But it's for them to bring it out. The ones we see essential to come in public, I ask for it if they want to come and show it. And if they are not open, we leave it. We don't come out and say this is ours. It means the knowledge is not ready to be sent out, or other people will come up with it.
Okay. Stefano asks, hello, Mr. Kesh. When you speak about work with the soul of the system, are you speaking about how to make a star formation with free plasma of each GANs, for example, the CO2, CuO, and CH3, I suppose? Is it this way we have to look?
In a way, yes, but in a way, you have to understand each matter has its own soul. So it's the combination of the structure of the human being you have to make that the soul becomes of the man's level. It's very, very, very ethical. It's very much depends on how you want to preserve. Do you want to preserve your soul in a pickled sauce, or would you like to put it in a vinegar? That's you'll come to understand. It's as simple as that.
Well, you mentioned the body salts, for example, the 12 body salts. Is that what you're referring to in that sense, or a different, just the salt versus vinegar environment for the
More or less,
materials?
more or less, yes.
In that sense, I've tried an experiment recently with the CO2 type GANs and putting a bit of citric acid in terms of lime juice in with it, and then a bit of vinegar as well into a sphere of the GANs. And it tended to not dissolve the GANs exactly, but it did tend to make the clumping much less. And so instead of getting big flakes, floating flakes, it was smaller particles, and seems to be a way to break up the chunkier pieces into small, more individualized GANs. I was wondering if that might be a technique to create that insulated GANs you were mentioning at one point.
Yesterday we were trying to do something, a new ways of producing nano coating, and with Marco and Armin we saw GANs of copper be produced instantaneously. And we could literally collect as much as we can carry on, collect as much as we wanted. And it's all black. And we see it getting formed, layer by layer. And they are more or less the same size in the container. I'll bring it to you next time to see it. It's very easy. It's just how you create a condition for what GANs and how it's going to be.
There was a question recently about what would happen if you had a nano-coated silver plate and a gold plate. In what kind of GANs would be created in that situation? Is there some way that could be calculated using some of the techniques that you've shown us, or is that something that can only be found out through experiment?
Can you repeat that? I was reading the post.
Okay, well, someone mentioned they wanted to know what would happen if you had a nano-coated silver plate and a gold plate, and what kind of GANs would that create? So I'm asking as a part of that question, can that be calculated through some of the techniques using the weights that you've shown us, or is that something that someone would just have to experiment with it and see what happens?
You can measure it, you can dictate it. You can even decide when the silver will release, when the gold will release. I did a test, I don't know, we still have them, the thing is somewhere. It's the Egyptian, you see the picture somewhere on the internet, I think we released it some time ago. It's rectangular piece with the Egyptian holographic on it. These are gold and this is silver. And I did a test that you could nano coat both of them. Nobody has managed up to now nano coat gold on the surface when we did it. That's 7, 8 years ago. And we put a diamond tester on it. It shows diamond structure. But then the process was, if we can take what we like from the both, and we can take gold or the silver as we decided to do. But I never carried on with it. It's just too many things was developed at that time. But we have a thing. You can decide, you can immerse it and decide the ratio on what you want beforehand, place them, nano coat it, and then you get a mixture of the two plasmas. But you got to remember, it depends on what you put on the other side. Or you just want to release those together. Would we get a plasma of a gold and a silver, or we get a gold, silver, and gold? Or is it just a plasmatic field and we never see the gold, but you can feel the essence of having gold?
I suppose it'd make a big difference if you used electricity in that case as well.
Maybe.
Okay. Are the drawers that you mentioned earlier, will they be an option that we can add on those power supplies soon?
Maybe. We got to try. It's something new. I just bought it yesterday because everything we done up to now was on the frame of, as you see, bars of threaded iron and the wood and the plastic. And I thought, now the time has come to go to a new option. We decide. Make it narrower, change it, and make it wider. We have an option. Now we use different structure because the structure of the bead is in a way that we can float water on it. Would it change the water as we float over it? Now we have an option. We can actually sink the beads into different liquids, a different environment. We can create vacuum condition inside the core. It's very, very simple. The new development is very, very extremely simple to apply and develop. We'll see what it comes. We've got to do our work and then we explain.
There was someone that used plastic drinking straws as the outer coating for their GANs beads. And they nano coated the straw and had good effect, they say, with that as a technique.
I don't know. Never tried it.
What else do we have here? Oh, there's someone that says, Mr. Cash, you have received the Cash Foundation Philippines proposal. What will be the next step? Does that make sense? I'm not sure what that's about.
No, I haven't seen a Cash Foundation Philippine proposal yet.
Okay.
Put it this way, we're receiving so much emails, it's become literally impossibilities to answer. I should spend whole day just to answer the email. There's hundreds and hundreds of them, just come like a flood.
Yes, and I get a lot of emails as well, and I apologize to people if I'm not able to respond to them immediately. What else do we have here? I don't see any more questions offhand
You know
here.
what? I look for certain emails. When I look about 100, 200 a day, I just look if I know one or if he means anything. And I'm sure very soon we'll see one from Mr. Delannoy. Now we expose their agent. He wants another questioning in the police station about it. We never could find out how they precisely knew what everything we were doing. Now it's become clear in past week how. So we'll let you know what we know. Is Sohail online? Do you see Sohail anywhere?
Yes, I believe he's here.
Could you put him online? Does he want to show his battery?
Whoops, he just disappeared.
So hey, let's stop chickening.
Oh, he's shy. Or something happened there. I'm not
Okay,
sure, but
he wanted to show. Can you speak to him on the Skype, see if he answers? Does he want to show or not? Because I couldn't speak to him before.
okay, I'll put a message through.
He's developed a first battery or a small energy battery pack.
Okay, well, I sent a message off there. We'll see if there's a response.
Let me see. Oh, he's come even off this. Oh, if we can get him on a Skype, maybe we can put him the other way around. Because it would be nice if we can show it. He's been ill. He's been. Oh, he's in a factory. Okay, Giovanni, he's got a message for you. Okay, no problem. He's in the factory. Most probably he cannot speak. That's why.
Okay.
Okay, no problem. We'll have him next week. They're trying to commercialize their energy unit as fast as possible, and we'll see what happens. We started about 9 o'clock. It's about 12:30 roughly. We're going for nearly 3.5 hours. I think
Okay.
it's time
Would
to
you?
stop.
Okay, if you'd like to end it now, we can do that. And
Yeah.
we'll start up again at the usual 2:00 p.m. or your
Yes,
time.
we start. Let me see if I can get Sawyer to talk. Because maybe he will show. He wanted to show his system.
Okay, that'd be great.
Just wait 1 minute, please.
A picture, Mr. Kesh, if you want me to show it.
Yes, can you show? This is the new energy pack developed by Sohail in China, and it's beautiful. It's very what they call 21st century. You don't need to charge. At the moment, when you want to charge like your mobile, you have to charge a unit and then you carry it with you and then you charge your mobile with it. One charge or two charge. This system, you carry it forever. You can charge it forever. You don't need to recharge and recharge again. This is part of the plasma. It's done with the development of Eric Clausen. He's been there for nearly a month now, more than a month, developing this thing to the final point. Now they're trying to commercialize it. It's part of the structure of Soil. Soil wants to do development manufacturing, and he's in that point. No, he's not answering us back. He's busy there. Okay, we call it a day and we get together again at 2 o'clock.
Do you see the picture, Mr. Kesh?
Well, we don't see anything. Oh, yeah, my thing is in front of it. Just wait. There we are. This is the new system coming out. USB stick. It produces 2,000 milliamp hours, and it can produce 1,000 milliamp hours, 5 volts. That's continuous for years and years. So this is the first plasma battery you see, and they should be able. He'll fully explain to us in the coming time. This is not a. I don't think it's an image production. It's something they've been trying to develop for some time. They built it up and built it up to this point. This changes the whole structure of energy supply to the small units. Okay, thanks very much for
Right
today.
on.
We'll see each other
Okay.
later on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kesh. Very good.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, so ends the 70th Knowledge Seekers Workshop of the Kesh Foundation Spaceship Institute for July 16th, 2015. Thank you, everybody, for attending.